And the rain is coming down so heavy.
Yeah, now, right now?
Right now.
I can always say, well, once your phone is paid, is that nice?
Oh, I was gonna bring an umbrella and didn't. Shit.
Good, it should stop by the time we leave here.
We ready? And we don't have to say 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's go. Oh, there's and Stacy's. Where's Claudette?
Yeah, Ron on the phone too.
Huh? And Ron's on the phone. Yes. Hey, Stacy. All right, Stacy. We're gonna start. It's 7 o'clock. We're gonna start the meeting. This is a work session. I call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, everybody's cell phone should be off unless it's an emergency.
Make a quick announcement about who
Oh,
we have
yeah.
on. We have a special guest.
And we have a special guest, is Ron Emily. He's in rehab and he's on the phone, so we welcome him back. And the other thing is, if anybody's taping this particular meeting, you should give your name to Josh so we know who it is that's taping it. All right? I just have one preliminary announcement here that the next meeting of council will be Tuesday, July 6th, instead of Monday, due to the fact that we have Independence Day holiday. The first, Alexis, are you?
I'm ready, yeah.
Yeah, but is there any people here from?
No.
Oh, you're both. Okay. We kept putting this meeting off, but Alexis wants to give us the information on the new building code policy. She has a couple other, let's say, organizations that might be interested in it, so I'm going to let her make her presentation.
Awesome, thank you, Frank. Good evening, board. I appreciate this opportunity. I know I've been in front of you before, just saying that we need to kind of establish some better policies for, our building code review and how we handle it. And at this point, President Boyle asked me to put together, kind of organize my thoughts of what we need to do and what we need to accomplish. As he mentioned, the first step, which I think was a little premature, was to identify companies that could provide UCC services. However, I think part of our issue is administrative on the borough end, and I would like to have some of these things addressed and in place prior to making any determinations of how we proceed with actual third-party agencies. Okay, so there's a little packet that should be in front of you. I just did a kind of a quick checklist just to keep myself on track and identify for you what some of the issues I feel we should do. But I will start out, the first line item says opt-in versus opt-out. That's with the state. Right now, Mount Pocono Borough is a opt-in status, which means we chose to regulate our own UCC reviews. By doing that, you have two different ways. You can have an in-house personnel, or you can hire a third-party agency. We currently utilize a third-party agency for that service, okay? The opt-out, I just wanted to make council aware that that is an option. Opt-out means that we choose not to be responsible for mainly commercial code enforcement. That goes back to the state, which the agency that regulates that is Labor and Industry. And then basically our only burden would be to inform whoever wants to build or do certain work, whether they need to pursue building code permits or reviews. So I also will note with that 90% of Pennsylvania municipalities are in the opt-in status, which means they choose to administer and enforce locally. So So that's just food for thought. One of the, I guess, continuous questions, because it actually was brought forth by a resident, that there are other municipalities that offer multiple services. So one of the things that I'm hoping that council will move forth and decide is whether we want to continue with one single code enforcement agency, or whether we want to be able to offer multiple agencies then it would be chosen by the resident and or contractor, whoever they choose to use. If we're speaking of, I think if you go to, not quite sure what order it came in, but it is a pretty simple process to elect multiple. There's an application that you should see that just says notification and change of building code official. You would then identify all or one agency as your, all or multiple, agencies that would represent the borough for that. So that would be an official form that we would need to file with the state in order to change that designation. Currently, with our, we have Bureau Veritas, and the protocol, we have a contract with them, which one of my biggest concerns is, to my knowledge, the contract has not been revised in over 10 years. So that's one thing that I would like, that's not in my purview to do, but I would like council to seek looking into reviewing the contract and seeing if it, one, if everything is still applicable, and then two, if it still meets our current needs. The one basic thing that part of that contract is that we, as a borough, receive a 20% administrative fee. So for every permit that they issue, the borough receives a 20% administration fee. The pros and the cons of that. So just before we move forward with whether it's an opt-in or an opt-out, with an opt-out, we would not be receiving any administrative fees because we would not be controlling who does that. So that portion would not come to the borough. So less headache, but there would also not be the collection of administrative fee. So that all being considered, like I said, I think the biggest issue that we have is protocol. Currently, since I've started working, I've received numerous complaints about the current agency. Just mainly it's communication and response times and them letting people know. My concern is that the two departments are kind of unilateral. That's not a subordinate department of zoning, so I really would like to not have to field their complaints. So I think in order to avoid that, we need to have some, policies and procedures in place that would hold them accountable, no matter who it is, of whatever their portion of responsibility is. So if you see, there's a couple of items that I think need to be addressed with that protocol. First and foremost is a written contract. We should look to update that, as I said, and look for review. Also, submission requirements. So currently, one of the issues that I've brought before you is that there is nothing that mandates that the third party needs to come to the borough to notify us of, no, nothing in writing, let's put it that way. It's common protocol, but there's nothing in writing that the borough has that mandates that they should send all potential permittees to the borough to be processed. So what's happening currently is that there are permittees that are going directly to the third party, and we have no knowledge of it. Oftentimes, I don't know until their building permits are pending issuance, and then of course they're looking to me at the last and final stage because they're looking for C of Os for zoning. Just to let you know how it typically works is that they should submit. It should clear zoning first, and obviously planning or any other land development that should go, because you don't want to have building permits issued on projects that are not viable. And then from that point, it should then be forwarded and moved on to our third party. So I'm looking for submission requirements. I think this is especially important if you're going to go the multiple UCC officer route, because you want to have a standard. You don't want someone, one company to require 5 sets of plans, one company to require 3, and, dealing with the back and forth of what their things are. So I believe that the borough needs to set, obviously with some input from them, set reasonable expectations of submission requirements. Again, we need something that in writing enforces the chain of custody. One of the things that previous council members have voiced an opinion on is the fact of payment policy. So we don't want to be responsible for having to front any cost for the third party. So it is my understanding it does happen elsewhere, where even though things come to the borough, checks or payments can be made directly to the third party, and I would definitely recommend that we do that. We have to decide whether the administrative fee, like I said, currently it is 20%, is accurate and still something that we want to move forth with. And then whoever we contract with, they should all have the same administrative fee. One shouldn't have 10%, 20%. It should be across the board. And then we need to also develop some sort of project tracking. So there are simple enough things, even if it's just a spreadsheet for now, but we should be tracking when projects are submitted, when they are due to expire as far as what they're doing, what the outcome of it is, whether it was approved or denied. Currently, we do not have anything in-house to verify all of those. And lastly, and I'm hoping that might be something we can integrate, but as far as the handling of complaints, we need to decide who would be the person to administratively handle the third party, issues in-house, because they would all obviously not be located in-house, and so therefore we need someone to be able to process those and to also follow up with our third party to make sure that everything gets done accordingly. And then something that's not on here, but Councilman Boyle asked me to look into it in case there was a concern. So basically, I did look in. We had the only thing I have to my reference is our current agency and the 2 that expressed potential interest. And as far as their fee groups, they're basically all the same. They do vary here and there. There would be no need for us to regulate that. I feel like they're self-regulating. But to answer the concern of whether we would be setting our residents up for high fees or something of that nature, the answer seems to be no, because all of their fees are kind of within $5 to the max $10 from the other one. So that shouldn't be a concern if we're considering multiple. So with that being said, that's pretty much where I stand with it, trying to give you guys the most information that you can to make a decision. But eventually we need to figure out, I'm going to assume that you probably want to continue with your opt-in status, but remember just to recap, the first thing that council needs to decide is, do we remain an opt-in where we locally enforce the building code, particularly that burden is for commercial development? Do we want to only have one third-party source, or are we willing to offer multiple? And then 3, we need to develop the written protocol moving forward prior to, I believe, bringing anybody on board, so that we don't have to backtrack.
But didn't you already have two other, well, we have one now, okay, as far as handling the code.
Yes.
But didn't you have two people submit a recommendation or one that were interested in that
Yes, I had to, I mean, it's been a while, but I did try to keep in touch with them and just let them know that as far as, you know, the things that we were having, we were trying to prioritize different things and we would get to it. But the two companies that I had forth was Northeastern Inspection Consultants and then BIU, which I believe stands for Building Industry Underwriters. I'm sorry, Building Inspection Underwriters.
And you have a proposal from each one of those?
Correct. And just for clarification, I did check, they are still currently listed as approved UCC agencies through the state database.
So what is your recommendation in that we should come up with a submission procedure?
Correct. Well, first we need to decide, I just wanted to know because I personally didn't know that you had a right to opt out. So I just wanted to make you guys aware that you could opt out where we put the burden on the state to regulate all of that. But, so that's the only reason I threw that in there. I think there could potentially be benefit in allowing multiple agencies to act on our behalf simultaneously. I do believe, and I mean it's all speculation, but I do believe some of what we're experiencing now is just an overburden of our existing personnel. But that's just my speculation.
The one we have presently.
Correct. Because I'm not sure all of the municipalities that they service, but I do know that they service our two neighbors, both Coolbaugh and Toby.
Okay. So I guess my next question, if anybody else has any questions, I mean, we should let's say establish a procedure of how we go about this.
Correct. So I think the first, I would assume the first thing that council is going to have to, and I assume it has to come to a vote, is to vote on whether you're going to move forward with one single agency or multiple agencies, or allow for multiple.
And first, whether we're opting in or out.
Right,
Right.
whether you're opting in or
Well,
opting out.
Yeah.
I think we'd be.
Yeah. Alexis, were you going to talk too about the a third option? Well, in a sense, to completely do it in-house. Just
Okay,
to talk
I did.
about.
Yes,
yeah.
yes, I will discuss that. So, I'm sorry, I was remiss because I put it, I did not put that in, but I should have. So, obviously, like I said, you could have hire an in-house personnel that is exclusively your building code official. Some of the pros that come with that is it's in-house, so we know directly what's going on. I guess some of the cons would be the insurance, their certifications. They have to, I mean, you will
They got to
likely
pass
have
a
to
test.
pay for their certifications, yes.
They have to pass
And they
it.
have to stay, certified. It's a little different than zoning.
I think there was, I mean, in the past, when Joe Brady was here, there's some, I think Jay Rake was one guy that took the test and passed it and was successful. I don't think we ever used them, any one of them.
Brady, he inspected my house.
Did he? Okay, but he was one on that particular, when we were doing it in-house.
Right. So, yeah, thank you, I'm sorry.
But
I
the
will-
two
but
people,
that is another-
go ahead,
The
Mike.
cost difference in-house to going out to a third party, did you figure that
Well,
out?
No, but not to the T, but you figure an in-house, it's gonna be hard you're gonna have somebody that is gonna constantly be on payroll. The difference with having the third party, which I think is probably why they pursued it in the beginning, is that you're only, I mean, there's no overhead for the
You pay-
third party vendor and
You pay them when you use them.
when you use them, correct.
Oh, you just pay them when you use them?
And the difference is we keep the fees in-house as opposed to what a percent,
Correct.
right?
Right, so, and that's the trade-off, so yes, you would be, whatever the fees that would get charged for the inspections, they'll come directly here,
So
not
basically
just the
equals out
percentage.
then, you know, cost.
You can hope
wise.
for it,
Right.
you can hope for that, yes.
Do you feel that possibly if we come up with a protocol, let's say for the present one, that might work out rather than, or do you think he's just overburdened?
I think it's a combination, but you definitely, no matter how you move forward, you need to develop protocol, because there's nothing
Right, either way,
enforceable
right.
to say what their deliverables are to the borough. I will say to try to help matters about not being, I did go to Bureau Veritas, I've been trained on their system, so I now do at least have access to their computer database as a read-only, which helps, but I truly don't want to have to do their administrative duty as well. So it'd be nice if we established what their deliverables should be, so that you can review and know what's going on and what projects are out there.
Can I clarify, did you say that, what's the name of it?
Bureau Veritas, yes.
They're issuing permits without your knowledge?
There have been some, yes.
And when
Because
you-
what happens is, what likely happens is that the contractors, especially if they're used to and they think that they know what needs to be done, they're reporting directly, because that's the longest lead item typically for some people in their mindset is, I need my building permit so I can break ground. So they're going there on their own. The problem is there's no protocol in place, so while I've developed a working relationship with our building code official, I mean, he's not the only administrative person there, so,
So you
it's
see a job
becoming
being
problematic,
done.
yeah.
You see a job being done, you didn't issue a permit.
Right.
And now you have to contact the people doing the job, and they
Correct.
say, oh, I got a permit from them.
Correct.
Do you,
I
do
think
you
what-
know if
I'm
the fees
sorry.
coming in are for people who go straight to Bureau Veritas, are we being paid the 20% fee, or?
That's what I'm
There's
saying,
no
there's
tracking.
no backtrack. So I did request since November, I did request, so when they send us the check for the 20%, they do provide a backup of what project it was, but I have no idea what they collected, you know what I'm saying, like what they collected fees on, or whether that, works out to.
Well, don't the permits have to be recorded in the borough? Once it's
We
done?
do not keep the building permits in-house.
Should be recorded in the county, huh?
It is in the county, and it is
Well-
probably in the state, especially commercial. I mean,
So
they
if-
do have a liability to the
Right.
state, so it's not
So-
like
So
they,
if you go to the county and pick out all the permits, and you can match them up with the money that they sent us, you know?
we could, but again, that's a long
Well, I understand
administrative
that,
process
I'm
to.
saying, there's a paper trail someplace.
I think the problem is she gets a check, but she doesn't know what it's covered.
Right.
I think that's what the problem, one of the problems is.
Correct.
So we gotta start from, let's make a decision if we wanna do it ourselves or a third party.
Correct.
Personally, I think my feelings are, I think we should continue the way we are doing it with a third party. Now, it's just a question, who's the third party? One other thing that I feel that we shouldn't have to do, and I'm totally against it, is we pay the invoice from the engineer or whatever it is, and then they reimburse us. I don't think they should be using our money to pay the invoice.
Correct.
We get paid back, but we lay it out, first, and then we they either have money in escrow and we deduct it from them, or they send us a check. I think Mike told us that particular thing. That which should be part of the policy.
Right, and
No
that's
matter
what
who
I
it
kind of
is,
briefly.
whichever one it is, that's what it should be. We don't get involved in paying somebody else's bill and then get reimbursed from them.
Right, but that's kind of what that's what I meant by payment policy. So I do know that how it can be done, because others have done that model, is that we collect it, but we have them write the check directly. Whoever the permittee is, it gets written directly to Bureau Veritas. Like I don't recommend that all fees come in and get processed through the borough before it goes out. But then right there's the check and balance, because we know the amount that and what it was for that
Right.
went to them. They can write the whatever the funds are directly to the.
How long is the reimbursement time usually?
Right now, it doesn't apply, because they pay, right now, the current policy is they go directly through the third party.
Okay.
The only thing that
How about the fees coming back to us? The 20%?
It varies how quickly it comes back to us. It's categorized monthly, but I have not always seen it come in every month.
It was later than that.
Yeah, I mean, they itemize it per month, but there are some delays.
Okay.
So you stated earlier that there was a contract that hasn't been revised in 10 years. Do we have a copy of the original contract that we can work off of?
Yes, we do. I do have a copy of that.
Can we get a copy of that to council members so we can actually go?
Sure, absolutely. I mean, it was in, that's why I said I apologize, because a lot of it, I didn't want to like keep hitting you with redundancy things, but because some of it was submitted in old packages, but we just weren't ready to tackle it at that point. But yes, absolutely.
Well, actually, on that contract, does it say, did you read the contract?
I did.
Does it say how it has to be renewed, either by them, us, or, you know what I mean?
No, well, it says how it can be terminated, so currently it can be terminated by either party. I believe it said that you have to give at least 180 days.
Yeah, but it's terminated now, it's 10 years old. It
No,
doesn't
they've
exist.
been renewing them.
Oh, they've been renewing it?
Yeah, annually. I don't know that has been, but yeah.
Okay,
They're
so-
renewing it on their end, but
Right.
what I'm saying is
Without
the
our consent.
verbiage. I don't know if it, no, what I'm saying is the verbiage has not changed or been addressed in 10 years.
Oh, okay, but it's the contract itself that's been
Yeah.
Come under
renewed.
planning
It's getting renewed annually.
procedure
Oh,
follow
okay, thank you.
with their assistance.
You could ask. Alexis, well, first, do you have a preference
Ron was trying to
or
say something.
recommendation?
Wait,
No, I think that's his wife.
Oh,
Between kind of the three options, the single agency, multiple agency, or in-house, what's your sense?
Again, I think my preference would be to allow multiple ones, because that way, if one is overburdened at the time that something big comes on, at least they have the option to go with someone else and not have to wait in a backlog. So that would be
So the first thing we should do is set a procedure of how we're going to do it.
correct. Yeah, and I definitely think that we need to revisit that contract and what it entails, and just make sure that different things are covered, line items that are covered, especially like what you were saying, to address
Right.
like the payment policy and things
Right.
like that.
But that would be, I mean, no matter who does it, the procedure should be the same.
Correct.
Yeah, the written contract, once it's revised, should be consistent no matter who
Absolutely.
we're
Whether it's
dealing
the
with.
present one or the two other intended ones.
Yeah.
So now, who do you think should be involved in writing up this procedure? You, but without, not, definitely you, there's no question about that. Do you have access to any other townships that have a procedure that we could follow?
Well, our neighboring ones don't see, they have the same thing we did, because apparently, my understanding of what happened is we went into an intermunicipal agreement. There were several, I'm sorry that I don't know all of the parties, but that's how it started. Several
Sharing it.
yeah, and it was a shared thing. The original contract was with Guardian Inspection Services. Guardian was bought out by Bureau Veritas.
Okay, now name, I'll say Tunkhannock. Do they go with Veritech? Or do they have their own? Could you contact someone there and see how they handle it? That would be-
Absolutely.
That would be
'cause
one.
the state
Paradise
database
Township
says
would be
who they
two.
have.
See how Paradise handles it. Pocono-
Paradise uses McGlynn as their,
Well, I mean, I'm just looking at the procedure to follow first. How do they have a procedure?
yeah.
Paradise,
Looking at the contract.
Tunkhannock,
Their
Contract
contract.
part of it,
Pocono
yeah.
Township. Let's start from the top. Pocono Township, so they're now,
I believe they were party with us, but I can definitely verify whether they've changed anything.
right, see if, we've got to find, maybe even Stroudsburg has one, I don't know, East Stroudsburg. But
Absolutely.
contact them and see if they happen to have a procedure to follow, and we'll start from there. And then we'll go into take the next steps, submission requirements and so on.
Because that's,
Wait,
that's
excuse
my
me, wait a minute.
recommendation, is that you need a contract, because definitely, obviously, I had reached out and we do have interest. I just, in all fairness, I think we should have whatever the potential contract is, just to make sure that they are still on board and they still have, interest in pursuing.
Okay, you have a question? Wait a minute, Pat.
May I suggest that the first thing that goes on that contract is that they have to report to the borough.
We know that. We sent them a letter telling them that. In fact,
How dare they?
Alexis and I signed it. We sent it up to,
Bypass you
yeah.
and go to them.
Yeah, but we should have a procedure that we start, this is step one, what happens, and then step two, what happens, and so on. To write down her pattern. She has
That's incredible.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 procedures that should have, like handling complaints and so
And
on.
that's not in there, that they come to the borough for a building permit?
We basically, we have nothing, I don't think.
Oh, that's shocking. Why?
It is, there's no question about it. But we depend, they come here for a permit, the
For a
right
zoning
way,
permit, yeah.
and then they go to Veritech. But now they're going to him before they come to us, and she goes someplace to check a building, and she's finding out
They have built it down on 611. That's ridiculous.
yeah,
there's
we
no
understand,
shared
that's what we're
project
trying to correct.
tracking
Just so
system.
we know.
That should be no.
Not currently.
Not
Just like I
currently.
said, in the interim, I did, because I was having issues, I did reach out to our current agency, and the resolution is that at least I have access now to their database.
But you don't
so
think
I-
that's a solution, because you have to
I don't,
actively
because
go
I
into
would
that.
physically
Yeah.
still have to kind of like know to go check. Like
Right.
certain things are on the radar. At least it kind of alleviates some of the other issues that I had where I was confronting people, telling them that they need a permit only to find out that they did it.
They got one from somebody else.
Yeah. So,
Okay.
so I can avoid that, but I still believe that everything should originate here.
Right here.
In the back.
I have a mic, sir.
I think Patty's tracked it.
Patty? Oh, Patty, I'm sorry, Patty. You're too close to me. I can't, I got far. Go ahead, Patty, explain.
What I will do is I will send an email to COG, because
Oh, that's wonderful
You're gonna
idea.
get 25 different municipalities. So let me see what they're doing. Alexis, I
Thank
will
you.
copy you on that.
I appreciate that.
I think that's start number one.
Yeah.
And then once we get that end of it, then we can move to stage two. It's gonna take a while to do this, incidentally.
Yeah, and I agree, but that's why I wanted to get the ball rolling. I believe that some of the other, like after thinking about it, some of the other was a little premature of just, just moving forth with another, because I think a lot of what we have is, just,
I think that would be step one. Let Patty write the COG and see if they have some, a written contract with UCC officials, boom, just how their procedure is. Then submission requirements, maybe they have it all in the form of a format.
Contact Veritas immediately and tell them no permit should be issued with that organization.
We already did contact them, that's how this,
Right.
we sent them a letter.
So anything they issued after that letter.
I think it's straightened out a little bit, but now, it's straightened out a little bit, but now we're in boat two again now. I can't yet, somebody's in the back.
Jody.
I'm sorry, Jody.
Sharing my experience, which was real time and did happen. I was literally open 6 months, and your zoning person here, it was after Brady, had no idea that I had anything. Literally told me to come down here that I'm operating illegally, because we went directly to Veritas. This office had nothing to do with anything we were doing. And I physically had to bring our occupancy, all the paperwork with me here. I forget his name, he was here very quickly.
Brady?
That guy.
Bill?
After him.
Bill
No,
Burt?
Auger.
Oh, here?
Yes, that might have been it. A heavy-set guy. Anyway, he called me down, I had to come into this office. He's like, I think you're operating illegally. I'm like, no, I'm not. I have every permit, every paperwork. But my point is, you definitely need obviously your bird didn't even know my project was finished. So, they definitely at Veritas, we dealt with Bill Burton directly at Veritas, but nothing had to be conveyed here. Honestly,
That's what
5 years
Jody, that's what we're trying to avoid. We want a
Right.
procedure to follow,
Right.
so, we're in the right track.
Right, so when they called me down, I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Everything's legal. It
Okay.
makes no sense.
Well, we're gonna start, we'll let Patty, she goes to COG and see if she can get anybody that has a procedure that they follow. We'll start from that. Maybe this is all ironed out by 1 or 2 people. We don't know.
And in the meantime, I'll resend to council so you don't have to dig through
Can-
emails from like.
How about a state organization? Maybe they have a general procedure.
I did. I actually contacted, I do have a call out. I left a message with Kurt Yeagle. for statutory stuff with labor and industry. I have not unfortunately received a call back yet, but I give them time. I mean, everybody is
Yeah.
experiencing crazy backlogs, so, but that will definitely be
I think what we gotta do is, whoever we can possibly get information from, any members of the COG, they might have a procedure already that, we got it made. Or anybody in the state that can give us the information.
Fred, can I ask a question?
Yes, go ahead, I'm sorry.
Why all these years there wasn't already a procedure?
I wish I could answer that for you, but
But you've been on council for a long time, that's why I'm asking.
well, let's say the same people were in there for years after years after years.
Right.
I mean, I remember there was a Mr. White, and then
So whose job was it?
well, somebody dropped the ball
to
somewhere, and I can't tell you who.
review this contract that wasn't reviewed for 10 years? Whose
Well,
job
that's-
was that?
I have no idea.
I
I
would imagine
couldn't.
a secretary.
So it wasn't council? No?
I don't think.
I mean, the person most involved with Bureau Veritas would have been a zoning officer, so previous,
Right.
at the time, and it should have been brought to council to renew a contract, certainly, or at least the issue brought up.
I don't think we
And
can
to
look at
improve
past.
procedures.
We gotta
Yeah.
move forward and say that we got to get this ourselves. And I think starting off with Patty, getting it from COG, and see who has it, and Alexis, if she can contact maybe state, or maybe they have something that we can use.
I do have
that-
absolutely.
Tell them what you're looking for, what categories you're looking for, and then take it from there, and then we'll just have to sit down and draft it up.
The only thing I did not note, I'm sorry, that was in the packet that I gave you, was if it was the opt-out, I did include what the Department of Labor charges for their permits. It says like Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Labor of Industry, Bureau of Occupation and Industrial Safety Buildings Division. So that's in there for your reference to know.
Are those similar to Bureau Veritas?
They are, it's not as broken down.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying, I believe probably all of their fees are kind of being self-regulated just because of the industry itself.
Did you hear anything about reaction time from the state then, and how quickly they operate?
What we decided on finally, or is he?
Or
Well,
how
think he might take
quickly?
notes.
Okay. But I think.
yeah, Harrisburg, I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's further bureaucracy, so I
That's
can't
why-
tell you
That's why I asked the
exactly.
question.
Yeah, I can say that when I left a message that the message does say that they're experiencing current backlog, which is approximately a month.
Okay, well, let's set a procedure here. We'll have Patty contact COG, you contact anybody else in the state,
Okay,
and then once you get the information, let us know, and we'll set up a meetings, and we're gonna have to work some overtime to get this straightened out.
right.
And we'll
I
take
agree.
each category
It's
that
worth it,
you're
though.
talking about, and get a procedure of how it's handled.
Yeah, because I think one of the things that I will also take a look is the project tracking methods. Because that I don't have a too good of an idea, and I know, like I said, the third-party agency uses a database called TMS. I'm not sure if that's, I will try to reach out to other UCC, and maybe that's something that they.
I really think that we
can
should
get
have
on.
like we're doing it now with someone, we get our commission, but he does the inspections. I think we should have, but we have to know what's going on.
Absolutely.
Alexa, may I ask you a question? Sorry, Mike. With multiple organizations or entities, will you consider it to be more complicated and more paperwork to keep track of? No? Okay.
No, as long as you have a project tracking, it wouldn't really matter who the.
See, right now, it might create a problem, because we got projects going on in the borough, and I don't think you could change code enforcement like Veritech to another third party, because he's halfway done. What are you gonna charge him?
You can, but it's a 180-day transition period.
Yeah, but I mean, I think that
So some of them
whatever
might
they're
decide that
doing
it's
now, they
close
should
enough,
do
just
until
let
you
them finish
decide
it.
you're gonna take a new individual as your
Well, he can
code
start new
enforcement.
projects.
Yeah, you'll just, start.
You got Mike O's in the back, Frank.
Yeah, I want to ask, did you take a list of who was there, Josh?
For the public? No.
No, I mean of the members of
Oh,
the
yeah.
council. Okay.
Ron's
Mike.
on the phone.
Okay, yeah.
Ron's on the phone. Mike, you want to say something?
Absolutely.
Ron, Ron, are you, can you still hear well, Ron?
Microphone on.
He might have.
Are you there, Ron?
I'm here.
Okay, you can still hear well?
We can
Oh,
he-
yeah.
Okay,
We
great.
can hear you very good.
Yes.
Ron, good hearing you, let's put it that way. We'd like to see you, but it's good to hear you anyhow.
First of all, probably I am, from everyone in this room, I am probably the most versed in zoning and building permit, electrical permits of anyone in this room. Okay? Now, saying that, I've dealt with it for a very, very long time. Now, in reference to policies and procedures, you have in the area, you have City of Scranton, Wilkes-Barre Township, City of Wilkes-Barre. You also have, to the south of us, you have the City of Bethlehem, the City of Allentown, and there's several more within that area that have the policies and procedures already written in reference to zoning permitting, building permit, and electrical permits. The first thing that I have to do, no matter if I'm building a small cell site, a macro site, or putting something on a building, or rebuilding a building, I need the zoning permit. So a zoning permit, that is the catalyst that will go from electrical to building. Now, Tom, you asked a question. I'll give you the answer. The borough and any municipality has 45 days to make a response. That's by the municipality's planning code. I submit a zoning permit to this building. It's stamped. I have 45 days to receive an answer. That's whether it be denied, approved, denied, or need more additional information.
Right.
If it needs more additional information, the clock stops. At that point, I have time to get that additional information done. The minute that information is returned back to the zoning officer, clock starts again to 45 days. Then from there, when that zoning permit is issued, that's the time when the electrical and the building permit starts. Okay? Now, again, there's 45 days. So basically, in any projects that I do, I allot 120 days from the very beginning of the first reference of that zoning permit to receiving a building permit in hand. So that's governed by the municipality's planning code. It's 45 days. Okay. Now, in reference to policies and procedures, Alexis can get that information, what you need. Basically, the policies and procedures for the zoning is very clear. What you need to get the zoning permit done. Electrical and building, it's the same thing. It's outlined in detail of what someone has to return to this borough. Now, there is one issue that can be different. The City of Allentown, similar to, let's deal with the City of Allentown as Section 1. City of Allentown, after the zoning permit is issued, I submit to the third-party engineer. And they don't care who it is, as long as they're UCC approved. Now, I'm going to take Alexis back just one step. We'll do that in a minute. That's UCC approved. From that point on, and I just happen to, I like Barry Isaac. I like his time frame and all that. I get charged by Barry Isaac a fee. Now again, we're dealing with the City of Allentown. And I'll deal specific with a small cell site. Cost of the small cell site is roughly $20,000 total. Okay, I'm paying Barry Isaac a fee for him to review the plans. Now, that fee to review the plans is everything dealing with electrical, building, you name it. That means that when he signs that on the dotted line, an engineer signs it. It's not a PE. He is a PE, but an engineer will sign that that. The minute that's signed, he gives that back to me. I either have to go to his office, pick it up, or whatever. At that point, I walk it over to the City of Allentown. At that point, I am charged $100 for the electrical permit application fee, $100 for the building permit application fee. They have 45 days to give me an answer. Within 45 days, they'll give me a telephone call. Now, again, this project is only $20,000. The majority of them, if anybody, are that I am charged $321 for a building permit and $154 for an electrical permit to get that in my hand.
Mike, who charges you? Does zoning?
The City of Allentown.
Or does
The City of Allentown. The engineering permit fee is totally separate.
Right.
Okay. Now, let's take the City of Scranton. Zoning permits required. okay? But they have their qualifications for that. At that point, when the zoning permit is issued, that's when the time starts on the electrical and building permit. They will not charge me a penny for the electrical permit or the building permit until it is reviewed. At that point, when it is reviewed, they give me a telephone call, said, Mike, your permits are ready. The electrical permit is X amount of dollars. The building permit is X amount of dollars. The third-party review fee is anywhere from $354, and the last one I paid was $1,200 or something like that for the building permit. So those fees are paid, and they are paid to the city of Scranton under 4 separate checks. They cannot combine their protocols up there for accounting. So I will pay 2 checks for electrical permit, 2 checks for a building permit. At that point, and the one who does the building inspections, as you named it before, the Northeast Inspections, NEIC, they are contracted with the city of Scranton. When the city of Scranton gets overloaded, they go to BIU, Builders Inspections, whatever. I forget the name. Underwriters. Now, so there you have the policies and procedures are already done in 4 or 5 different municipalities. And you can also throw Lower Merion Township in there too. They're a pain in the butt, honestly. But I tell you what, when you get through with them, you have a good quality permit. But Franny, in reference to you want, depending on how you do it, if you want to deal with somewhat to the city of Allentown, city of Bethlehem the same way, you pay the third party, the applicant pays the third party engineer, but everything is run through the city office. And the city office knows, because they are the ones that they will stamp the sign, stamp the seals, a receive date, because that starts the 45-day clock, period. So your thing is 45 days, okay? Now, I heard you comment, Fran, in reference to doing it in-house. Great idea. I'll keep all the money inside, except you have an issue. You have to pay and you have to pay an engineer's salary to review those plans, because the minute he stamps it, the contractor is going to build to that expectation, to that plans. If those plans are incorrect, there's an issue with it, the borough of Mount Pocono is going to be held responsible for the damages. Whether you lost a life or the building collapses, or in that case, the car wash doesn't work right, or someone has an issue with access and egress for that.
I have a question. Of all of this money that's going for fees and stuff like it, how much portion of it does the borough get?
Well, in reference to, that's where the city of Allentown, city of Scranton and all that, they set the fees. They set the fees, and there is a schedule. There is a schedule that from 0 to 1,000 is X amount of dollars, 1,000 to 5,000 is X amount of dollars, 5 to 10,000 is another X amount of dollars, and then from there, anything over like a $10,000 job or $20,000 job, it goes based on a percentage. The fees are set in stone, so you know, and the applicant coming in here knows exactly how much fees are to the borough.
That's what I want to know.
To the borough. Now, when it comes to the third-party engineer, that will fluctuate, because if you're bringing in a plan similar to Hirschland's, you can't have the third-party engineer pay $321 to review a set of plans that has over 150 pages.
Right.
And as detailed as that. Right? So that's where that fee is based on the third-party engineer's fees. And that's easy enough done, because you can ask them how much the fees are. And from there, I don't have to deal with that in reference to a 150-page plan of a 4-story building or whatever, unless, of course, I'm doing a structural analysis on it, then I have to. But they are, the third-party engineer is the one that will charge the applicant that amount of that figure. So before anything, like in Jody's case, the zoning permit will be issued. This office will know when the electrical permit is issued and the building permit is issued, and there is a $50 fee or a $100 fee for a certificate of occupancy, a COO. At that point, anyone can do the COO. If Alexis wants to have a free time in the afternoon, go out and do a COO, she goes, she looks at it, says, all these things are taken care of, the engineer signed off on it, you're set to go, pay me with $50, here's your COO. At that point, Jody doesn't have to come up and 3 years later saying, I have all my permits, because the third-party engineers never gave them to the borough. It's all handled in-house.
So Mike,
I have one good, let me ask you, Mike, I have one good thing to ask you. When we get started on this, can you work with Alexis and get this?
Right now, my time for the next 2 weeks is
Well, I'm
crunched,
not
but yes, I
saying-
can. I'll be glad to help, because I want to see this borough do it correctly. And correctly might not be my way or your way, whatever, but it's been done all over the
Right.
state.
That's what
It's
we
been
want.
approved. It's
We
been
want a
approved.
procedure, and then I can go pick it up and read it, and anybody else can pick up and read it and see if we're following it.
Exactly, and also too, when your finished product, Tom, I'll get you a
Yeah,
question.
that's all right,
in a second.
fine.
When your finished product is done, Alexis will hand, whether 1 page, 2 pages, or 3 pages, as the initial person who gets the zoning permit. She can hand it and says, you need this. Bring that back to me with the zoning permit, then we'll review it 45 days later, or maybe even 2 days later. Still get the permit. At that point, the electrical and building permit starts. Now, as for code enforcement, Alexis does have a point. If she gets inundated with zoning, she cannot handle code enforcement. And code enforcement is not just dishing out electrical permits and building permits.
Right.
Code enforcement is all the cars that you see in the borough of Mount Pocono that are dead with engines out of them along all the roads. That shouldn't be there. All the illegal signs that are in the borough of Mount Pocono. That's code enforcement. So it's not just giving a building permit, taking a building permit application, and giving out the building permit. It's following up on every single little ordinance the borough of Mount Pocono has.
Right.
So I mean, it's not just taking in the permit applications. Anyone, your front office can take over, can take an application, zoning, building, and electrical. They can take it. They stamp it, right? And in the event something is missing, the permit is denied or is put on hold, the code enforcement officer, or if it happens to be zoning, Alexis can call and say, we can't accept this. It was accepted, but you do not have item 3 of page 7 or whatever. Which has happened to me. I've forgotten certificates of insurance. Literally have forgotten to put them in the envelope. And they'll give me a call and say, we need the certificate of insurance.
So Mike, bottom line, what you're saying is that everything should go through the borough first.
Everything you do for this borough for zoning, electrical, and building permits and certificates of occupancy should be done through this borough office, period.
So that's step 1 of the paperwork.
That's step 1 of the paperwork. No
And
answers
it's
to both
obvious,
sides.
it should be obvious
Right.
that it goes that way.
Now,
Okay. I don't want to cut you short, but
right.
Alexis, get with him.
Give him what?
Get with him and get
Oh,
it.
yeah.
You didn't ask him what
And
his
then
pay
in
rate
the
is,
meantime,
Mike.
Patty will try with COG to get whatever information she can get. So maybe between the two of them, we'll get something going.
Well, thank you very much for your
But
expertise.
that's-
Mike.
We appreciate that, Mike.
Yeah, and this way you can do it right, do it correctly, and you never have to worry about, because you received a very large check in the mail from Puente Veritas. That should never happen. It's unfortunate it happened, but it should never. It should come back to you, and then, like what happened to Jody, it's probably happened to a whole bunch of other people in this borough. That should not happen. But it did, it does, you can correct it now.
Looking forward to doing
The only thing that happened, we don't know what it's all for. I don't think you do, do you?
What's that?
The check that you got from Veritank, you don't know what the whole,
It's not
All the
obvious.
money.
I know what projects it's related to,
Oh,
but I
you-
don't
okay.
know
Oh, you
all
really
of the
do.
line
All right.
items that-
Okay, thank you again, Mike.
Mike, we appreciate your information. And Alexis is going to be picking your brain.
That's
We'll
not
go.
an issue. Alexis, the
Yeah,
next 2 weeks
after-
are, next 2 weeks are kind of tight in time, but after that.
He's a nice boy.
Use an ice pick.
Okay,
Gene has it up there already, I haven't pulled it out.
all right.
And I just want to
Is
say,
that,
Alexa,
is
was a
that
very
the
good
end of the
presentation.
conversation on this building enforcement? Start from 1 and work our way down? And there was going to be, actually Patty's going to get what she can, and Alexa's is going to get from Mike what she can, and then we'll probably have to have a special meeting and work it out. And we'll always pick Mike's brain, because he's very knowledgeable. All right. Anything else on that new building code policy? If not, we'll go to B, which is zoning code enforcement and short-term rental code enforcement.
You're up again.
Am I back up?
Wow, this is Alexa's night.
It is. I appreciate it. Thanks.
This was her special night. What do you mean?
Yeah, I appreciate it. So I think I fairly recently brought up to council, and also I know that Councilman Vogel also brought it up, but I think that the issue of, we've got two things going on. The good thing is we're very busy in the borough, but I think at this point it's too much for just one part-time person. We have a lot of new construction, which is ongoing and probably will be for at least the next 2 years, that needs to be walked through like every stage. We have obviously our residents that are looking to, do permitting for their specific jobs for, accessory uses, sheds, decks, et cetera. And then we have standard violations, or standard code enforcement, I shouldn't say violations, standard code enforcement issues that are the typical seasonal type, like whether it be snow removal or grass cutting. And then we have my super nemesis, which is the short-term rentals. So that being said, I guess I'm just trying to appeal to council. I definitely did some soul searching, and while I am a capable person, I only have certain, time and ability to process everything. And I think if we want to move forward and keep things and not necessarily have to sacrifice one thing for the other, which is what's happening now, we should look into having and separating the way I think it should go is separating the code enforcement, which I think was the initial intent. It just didn't happen, didn't work out that way. But separating the code enforcement from the administrative zoning type of situations.
Let me ask a question. I know you're thinking of a code enforcement officer. How about a constable? Could he be?
Constable?
Yeah, could he be?
The constable will only, they're not going to go and do it themselves, so they'll accompany.
If you give him, say, you got to enforce this, give him the information, he could take it and enforce it.
No.
That's not my understanding. My understanding is that they would, for safety reasons, they would.
They're like a sheriff type.
Right,
Yeah.
They can accompany you, but
They'll
they cannot
accompany.
work on any of the enforcement stuff. They're not permitted to do so.
Okay, so
And
what
and
you're
they
saying
charge
is-
hourly too, so.
Can I ask you a question?
Wait, Patty, wait a minute.
Oh, I'm sorry, Patty, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I think we should go back to the plan, our original plan. We had Alexis doing zoning, we
Right.
had Juan doing code enforcement. It's not fair for her to do both. She's not doing 40 hours, and we did
Oh,
budget
she's
for
super
40
well.
hours. She's great at the projects and everything going on. She's wonderful, absolutely. But the code,
Thank
she
you, I
can't
appreciate
be everywhere.
Right.
So with
Right,
that being
I'm
said, I think, especially with these short-term rentals and the codes that are out there, we gotta get a handle on this borough. And if we don't get a handle on the borough, it's gonna be bad.
I mean, we have short-term rentals, we have blight, we have the, the standard code enforcement type of issues. And so,
Wait a minute.
and I understand, and I definitely, I appreciate, I feel like we're all on the same page of that these things need to be done, but just, like I said, just looking at reasonably what can be processed by one person. And again, like I said, honestly, even if I know one of the questions was, what about just you going full-time? And I don't even necessarily know that would help, because it's still only one person. Like if I'm taking a call, I can't be out on the road, versus if we have two separate personnel with the same amount of time, we can cover a lot more ground.
Lex, I have one question for you. Zoning codes enforcement, they don't do any building inspections, do they?
No, that would be our third party.
Right, that's what I figured. I thought that.
I mean, we do, that's something, but we are responsible for also doing rental inspections. We do that in-house.
Rental, yeah, okay, but not building. No, okay, because I thought I mentioned to say that. I was confused, sorry.
I would make just like Alexis, I would make an appeal to council so we had originally budgeted 20 hours for a zoning officer and 20 for codes enforcement. And like Alexis is talking, a division of labor, and it could be fashioned so as 10 of those hours a week are dedicated to short-term rental enforcement and 10 hours to standard enforcement otherwise. And I think there's some Summit Point people
Yes, we
here.
are here.
Yeah,
We are here.
yeah.
That doesn't add up.
What's that?
That doesn't add up.
No, that's
In-
for a new
The 20
person.
and the 20 hours.
No, 10 and 10. We're
No,
saying,
no,
Can we
no.
have these people stand?
We're talking a total of 40 hours,
yeah.
period.
She would be
So
20.
another person.
She would be
With
20,
another
the
person,
total
yes.
would be 20. 10 for short-term rentals, 10 for code.
And you said Ron, is that someone?
Juan was an
No,
employee we
Juan
had
was
previously.
We were hired
Oh,
at
Juan,
the same
he's
time, but
gone.
Yeah, he went to Jersey.
Okay. It
So
is.
we'd have to hire an individual to do the code enforcement.
That's the other problem. Nobody wants to go to work.
Yeah.
Our work,
But yeah,
Especially for
I just
this
think it
borough.
would be better situated, because just like I said, even, I do try to put in close to the full-time hours without breaching anything of my part-time status. But even still, it's just one of those things where I can't be in two places at one time type of thing. So that's where I came to the reality that in order to get what we really want or need, we should.
But you make a good point, Alexis. I mean, you're deep into a project, you're project managing, and to be able to step out of that, I mean, you never know what issues are coming up, and if there's someone dedicated to codes enforcement, we can enforce better. And we always say, sitting here, we should enforce the ordinances. So,
Yeah. You have snowshoe condominiums, Oakview Terrace, just to name two giant, that haven't been, what do you call it? What is that called when you go? She has to get in the car, go over there, and go in the apartment, make an
Inspection.
appointment, check for the railings on the check for the smoke detector. Somebody she can't do that. That's way
She
too
does
much.
it.
That's not.
I was gonna say, I do it for the ones that are renting, but it's also, I mean, and again, this is something that kind of parlays into our building code, enforcement issue, because that needs to be incorporated, that there be some sort of communication, because there are some things that go outside of the jurisdiction of the zoning
And you're
officer.
not collecting the
What you'd
fees.
have to do is have two people, the zoning officer and a code enforcement, and have duties that each one of them are gonna do. The
Like
code
what we
enforcement is gonna be the,
originally
make inspections, and see that the ordinances are enforced and so on like that.
Thousands of dollars you're losing because you don't do the annual inspection and collect the $75 fee.
Excuse
Well,
me,
they-
Mr. President, can we have the audience recognize the audience so they're on
I'm
record?
done.
No, you
I
can go
can-
for it.
I
That
can
was
talk. I
my
can
only,
Yes.
plea to council. That's why I waited.
Wait a minute, what's going on, what?
Are you going to hire?
May I, if I have a chance? Hi, name is Luis Krause. I live on Deerfield number 1. And I'm sure you guys are aware of the problems. of-
Okay, you're on Summit Drive?
No,
Deerfield.
Deerfield Drive, Summit Point.
Oh, Summit Point.
Summit Point.
Yeah.
We are asked as a group to come here today to support the idea that she needs extra help to do her job. And we strongly recommended, suggested, whatever you want to call that. But the fact remains, if she has help or no help, our situation remains exactly the same. We've been here for more than 5 years asking you to do the same thing. Penalties to the wrong people, solutions for the right people. Nothing has been done.
No, you're
It's
wrong.
almost
You're-
6, sir.
Excuse me, you're
May I have
wrong
the
on
chance
that,
to
you're
talk?
wrong on that.
No, I'm not.
Yes, you
I'm
are.
not. Now I live there and I know. If you go right now, there's a group of people swimming in the lake. There is garbage everywhere from people who spend a weekend there. So where is the solution? Where has the problem been done?
Okay, well, let's go back a little bit. You say we've done nothing.
I'm-
One
no, she's
one
an
Summit
amazing-
Drive
she's an amazing
is, one
professional.
Summit.
She has
Wait,
been extra
let-
help.
don't-
She has
Let
been-
me talk, okay?
No, why don't you let me talk first?
Go ahead, you
I-
talk
that's
and
my
let me know
chance.
when you're done.
I will. I pledge.
You got 3 minutes.
Okay, 3 minutes will be good enough for you. Once and again, after 6 years, we are asking you people, please help, do your job, help us to have a quality of life, set some standards, make us to be proud to be here, to enjoy to be in a community that looks forward for the better, not for the worse. Every month, every week, things turn to worse, not for the good, but for the worse. There is nothing good about our neighborhood. Every single weekend is trouble, is police calls, is problems, is screaming. You can check your, we do that all the time, sir. We check our watch all the time during the evening, during the nights. When 3 o'clock in the morning, there's a girl half naked in a hot tub, is screaming for the boys next to her. So the standards in our neighborhood are absolutely horrible. And for 6 years, there is no help. So I'm not criticizing you. I'm once and again, in name of our community, asking for help. She's doing a remarkable job. So please help us to increase whatever has to be done. Because you've been telling us to go to the police, so we did. You're telling us to go to a lawyer, so we did. And here, once again, we were here with the same question. We came here 6 years ago. Can you do something for us? And you, sir, you always said, my hands are tied, my legs are crossed, my fingers are somewhere. Nothing has been done, so I'm sorry. We don't believe in you guys anymore.
I never said that,
We
I'm
really don't
sorry.
believe in you guys anymore.
It's an horrible.
Okay.
We pay our bills, we do our taxes, we make the community better, we try to be good people, good residents.
We want to work with you.
We want to be part of the team, but nothing comes in our way.
Okay.
Luis, that's why I asked you to come here, because
And here we are,
Right,
once and again,
right.
sir.
Because we're trying to do something tonight and get a dedicated short-term rental codes enforcement officer so we can move,
Right.
once, we can move forward. Michael pointed out that you're asking help for just 3 properties, not 125, 3. So if we can, as a starting point.
Okay.
So if we can get going on that and start enforcing things, hopefully we can change things.
We
So-
can take
so
any
I
word,
appreciate- I'm
but
glad
we
you
need
came.
we need some hope. We need some
I agree.
light in the end of the tunnel. Keep doing the right thing. Keep being a good citizen. Set some morals, set some standards to us so we can follow you guys. Otherwise, everything is just go to the drain. Nothing goes in our way.
Yeah.
Thank you for your time and appreciate you, sir.
Right, thank you. Wait a minute. Alexis, I want to, tell them what's happening on One Summit, would you please?
We have 2 properties.
Two properties.
There's 2 properties, would you tell us?
Yeah.
So they're aware of the fact that we are doing something.
Yeah, just to give you an update, so One Summit is one of the biggest offenders actually as far as what they're doing and the activity that's happening there. We have served them, we have instituted a lawsuit against them. Our attorney has already, it was earlier last month actually, deposed the homeowner and got their testimony. I'm told that mine is forthcoming within the next month, and then all of that will be done prior to setting the hearing date. So that's where we are with that.
Actually, the borough did everything legally possible to remedy the situation so far,
At this point.
at this point.
Yes. The issue, and I know that it's not exactly, and I'm in touch with the residents regularly just to try to, like help them understand where we are with different things. There are very clear violations, trash, noise, things of that nature.
But you got
What we have advised, especially with the rowdiness and the noise, is for them to continue to contact regional police to document that, because I do now have access as a result of the residents attending the police commission meeting.
When you say residents, who are you talking about?
The
one
Summit Point
One
residents.
Summit Point or just the whole Summit Point?
No,
residents?
the Summit
Okay,
Point.
but isn't there a court case coming up now that's?
We're waiting to set the date, yes.
Okay.
We're in the process of deposing all the witnesses. I will be one of those witnesses.
Listen to that.
And so we're moving forth with that. The issue with 10 Shelley is a little bit more touchy because there was a zoning hearing board decision in their favor as far as what they were doing.
That was wrong.
How, do
Correct.
you know when that was?
Yes,
The zoning hearing.
we have sent you all the reports and.
No, I'm.
Wait a minute, come on, let's keep this a little bit orderly and not,
Yes,
we don't want 10 voices here.
But I'm just
Alexis
wondering how
has
long
the
it
floor.
was.
Patty,
The zoning hearing
let her
board
talk, please.
I don't know the exact date, but I know that it's been at least 5 years that the decision was made that
I think
they
it was
were-
just a couple of years ago. It was
What,
maybe
with-
2018,
Chatham?
17, 18, yeah.
so
And
that's
the
three-
the
four years.
decision favored the short-term rental?
The
The
point,
decision protected them under an existing non-conforming use.
that Chatham was that was screwed up. Let's face the
That was
facts on
screwed
that.
up, because Bob.
You're
It
right.
has to be repaired.
Now,
Correct, but that did not stop us. We are still
No, I know, he's
proceeding with
still,
legal
he's
action.
still in, even if it was granted, he hasn't registered or anything, I don't think, has he?
Not to my knowledge.
So there it is.
There it is,
He
that's
shouldn't be
that's the
operating.
point is. The point that we were trying to do, if we
Cease and
get one,
Right.
whatever, I think there's 13 more up there, I don't know how many there is, they're all gonna get in line then.
Yes.
Because that's what Jim Ferrari's working on, to go to court with one, get that settled, and if the pretty hefty fine comes up like that, you're not gonna see too many of them
Right, but the
pulling the
borough
same
is
trick.
not doing everything, because they're supposed to be slapping them up with fines for all of the violations. We
Zoning
have-
officer, are you slapping them up with fines?
We are
Yes.
keeping, yes, we're keeping track of all of the times that
Don't
they,
you know?
that they
We
are
don't have
not.
any rental violations written.
But I
down.
agree with you, we're not doing everything
Thank
because,
you.
because there's, it's not a matter of doing everything or not. The fact is we're trying to do more right now, so we're de facto admitting we're not doing
At
everything,
least you
right?
acknowledge it, but if
Yeah.
he's gonna fight us about it,
Um,
he'll fight
Well,
us.
that's
I
true,
will-
but we gotta get, if you get one guy that pays a
Right.
fine and everything else like that, hopefully the others are gonna get in line, although unless they got lots of money.
Do we have a part-time solicitor? Is
Do
he
we have one?
full-time or part-time?
No, he's on,
He's
He's-
full-time?
He's on retainer. as
He's
we
on a
need him.
retainer.
Oh, so he comes when you need.
he comes at our meetings, and but in the meantime, if things like this particular's coming up and they're setting a date, he's contacted Alexis for information and so on like that. It's getting closer, all I can say is getting closer.
Right, oh, absolutely, but I will state, and that this is why I think it kind of brings up another thing of like that we're looking to pursue the nuisance ordinance. So, for instance, the continual roadblock, especially for these short-term rentals, is that there is nothing that precludes them from, allowing somebody. We all know that it's short-term rentals and it has nothing to do with an association with the homeowner themselves. The unfortunate part is there is also a burden of proof to do that. And yes, there are certain things that if they were obviously legally registered as a short-term rental, then they would be considered a commercial use. And then there's other things that work in our favor, like the Department of Health and things like that. These entities do not enforce residential things. I've tried on several occasions. I mean, when we're dealing with the trash issue, when we were dealing with COVID and they were still having people, I contacted the Department of Health. I contacted, not county waste, but the county, the municipal, the county waste authority, I think that's what their name is. Yes, so we did put them on the radar. I had officers come out and document that we have an issue. But the fundamental issue is that without them registering that they are a short-term rent or doing short-term rental activity, we have nothing currently in our ordinances that help us enforce that. Like, we know it's a R1, and we know that what they're doing is a short-term rental, but there's
They're in
nothing.
violation, right? Because
Yeah,
they're
so
doing
the
it in
things
one and
that I
so
can
on.
hit
It's
them-
plain and simple that they're in violation.
Correct, so the things that I can hit them with as far as straight violations is the trash, the noise nuisances, the things of that nature. As far as there's nothing that particularly can give them. We identify that we notice that it seems like they're doing short-term rental activity, but without taking them to court and actually, making them disclose that that's exactly what they're doing. There's nothing right now that helps us in that do fees or assess things on that nature, because it's just our word against theirs.
And we discussed at the Planning Commission meeting last week, doing what you were just talking about, a nuisance ordinance, and our solicitor he's gonna gather some model ordinances for us, and we'll go from there, but it's trying to stepwise make progress.
Right.
And something with a little bit more teeth, so.
Something with more bite. I mean, especially because, nobody could have anticipated the short-term rental, abuse that we were going to be subject to. But right now, the biggest thing is, I guess you can call it a legal loophole, but they're a residential use in the eyes of, the state or other entities. So, just being able to enforce certain things. We have to go the legal route and take it to court.
If we get one summit, I think my feelings are there's going to be a lot of them going to toe the line, and knowing that they were in violation from the start. First of all, they shouldn't even have it. That's the first thing.
Right.
That's going to help us in that. And then if we get one, it'll be much easier to get number 2 and number 3 and so on like that.
Now, moving forward, those who legally register, I mean, you did take the first step, so we do have short-term rental ordinance that does enforce once they register what the thing, the kind of like this 3-strike rule. But the issue with these existing
Non-compliant.
yes, is the fact that somehow they feel that they're entitled because they've been doing it prior to.
According to the ordinance, short-term rental, they have to be a certain size and certain area and so on
Right.
like that. Well, if they fulfill the requirements, there's not much you can do about it. But if they don't, that's when we go take them to court.
Oh, yes.
Well, we're
Oh,
trying.
yes. My name is Wendy Webster, and I am the Vice President of Summit Point
Okay.
and Treasurer. Now, what you just said was complete fallacy. The problem is this has been going on for so long. We can't allow this to go on. You're ruining our lives by not supporting us. Okay?
I
As
disagree
far
with
as
that.
getting Alexa help, we don't want to see you giving us 10 hours of this job because she's already inundated. And I'm telling you, every single day she gets emails and pictures and more complaints from us, okay, as a community and stuff. She needs more than just 10 hours because we have more of an issue than just 10-hour issue. One Summit, drive down Summit Road. Just drive down it. You'll see it. Drive down in the middle of the afternoon. You'll see it.
I drive
on a
by. I
weekend.
drive there lots of times.
And do you see the mess?
Yes, I do.
And then the
I agree
animals
with you
come in the
100%.
evening and stuff. That's another issue. Who's cleaning that up because the people are gone? You're just sending out fines. Are you sending out fines for today, tomorrow, the next day,
have
the
to
next
ask the
day, the
zoning
next
officer
day?
what she-
I mean, we are trying to do that also. All right, that's why we're making all these copies. Whatever we are doing, we're sending off to Alexa.
That's
So believe
wonderful.
me, she needs more than just a full-time herself. She needs, on this project, because of the fact that this has been delayed for so long, now she's inundated. And it's
Okay.
not fair on us.
On July 6th, we have a meeting here. Our solicitor will be here, and he'll give you the status of what
You're gonna
summit.
need to speak up because
I'm sorry, I
Yeah,
should
you're
be up
right.
here at the
No,
mic.
grab the other one.
Okay. On July 6th, we have our next regular meeting. Our solicitor will be here.
She'll barely hear you.
Put the
Maybe I better
microphone to your mouth.
Oh,
Right, and that is the problem.
I don't think it's
all the way
on.
back here, and
The light's
then
on, though.
we can
That
barely
one's
hear
fine.
and get
That one's fine.
every
This one
other
is-
word.
Yeah.
Oh, much better.
on July 6th, we
Nope,
have a,
nope, it's not working.
On July
That's
6th,
it, that's it. Give me-
Like talking to the
Okay, that's better.
on July 6th, we have a regular meeting. Mr. Ferrari will be here, and that has to be on the agenda, and we'll see what the status is on one summit and how we proceed. I mean, I still feel if we get one, the others are gonna have to toe the line too. That's my feelings.
But you
Well,
already.
you can't do them all at one time because it's utter chaos.
True. And you know what? We're volunteers here, okay, at SPPOA, and we're getting the physical abuse, okay? We've been verbally abused. We've watched them take down the paper that they put down on the door of one summit and completely ignore it. At that point, that should have been reinforced again. Where's our help? We're trying to work with you. We've had our board meetings and we've asked you people to come to our meetings. Yes, we had a changing of the guards, you can say. And now the changing of the guards with the executive board, we're trying to be completely on top of things.
And trust me, we're trying to help you.
Board meeting, because we were gonna come to
Yeah.
your board meeting.
I understand that, and that was with,
threatened not to go.
and that was with the old board meetings.
That's all right.
That was with the old board people,
Okay. So
okay?
when did you
So,
Okay.
we have, our board meeting is the last Saturday of every month. And we'll be happy to have an extra meeting to just discuss this so that we can fully understand what's going on.
Can-
And we're doing what you're doing.
Okay, can we wait till July 6th and see what the report is from Mr. Ferrari?
No, but I'll attend your
She
meeting. What
wants to
time
come
is
to
your
the
meeting?
meeting.
10 o'clock.
When, what day?
10
10
a.m.
o'clock on the last Saturday of every month.
Yeah, I was on my
Okay.
way there when Jean was in the office and she said, Jean from here, said, don't go,
Right.
you're threatening us.
Right.
So,
That would be this
I
Saturday.
was
Your
not-
meeting is this Saturday.
By the
Privy
way,
to
that's
that. I was
why-
not privy to that, and as I said before, we have a whole new executive board. Mario did leave the development, he sold the house, rightfully so, he resigned immediately afterwards. So we now have the executive board in place, and we're all working very hard and diligently, doing
Okay.
everything that we can, but we need your help, and when we see this problem continuing, that's not fair.
I mean, all I can tell you is it was in the hands of the solicitor, and we're at the stage now where I think we're getting pretty close to the court case. Am I right, Alexis? And then we'll see what happens with one summit, and with whatever pattern that was,
Okay.
we'll
And
follow.
also, to back up, the issue on the table for you people is to get Alexa help. Yes, we absolutely need extra help, but do we want Alexa to pass the short-term rentals off to somebody else? I don't think that's fair, because she's already got all our history of everything.
I have,
And we got her emails.
I have,
And we'll collect all of yours.
I have a note here that zoning code officer enforcement and short-term rentals. So either the guy's doing the same thing, or one guy can do both, or.
Well, I understand where she's gotta be split.
She's
You know,
out of the
She's gotta
picture.
be out of the road, she's gotta be doing other things and stuff.
No, she's not gonna be in the enforcement. We're gonna have to look at hiring somebody
Just to
for
give us 10
enforcement.
hours when this is a problem.
Wendy, what do you think? So right now, we're doing very little in terms of enforcement, because Alexis is overwhelmed.
Overwhelmed,
in-
absolutely.
So what
Well, I
do you think in terms of the number of hours?
I would think doubling that, 20 and 20. You know,
That-
just on the short term, because
That's
just
what
to
the plan
solve
was.
I
the
mean, that's a
issue.
debate for council, I think, because,
Just
yeah.
to
That's what-
solve and get this bad situation in the right direction. I'm not saying that it's gonna,
Oh, it's not gonna stop right
corrected
immediately.
Immediately,
Right.
exactly. But you can go on every single short-term type of site and see all of them that are there.
Okay. So we're gonna look into.
Send pictures of
well,
it.
I'm speaking actually for the council. We're gonna look into a zoning code enforcement officer, and who is also gonna handle short-term rentals. And Alexis will have her job, and this will be another, we used to have it, so.
And Alexis would still oversee this person, so.
exactly.
Well, that's great, but like I said, she already has all of
Well-
our history, of everything.
I understand.
We
yeah.
did have
Okay.
her as the manager,
Mhm.
basically supervisor, whatever, oversee zoning and code, if you remember.
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah.
right, and just so you know, I feel your pain, because I have short-term rentals near me in the Pine Hill section. So, yeah, I feel your pain, the fireworks.
But it's
the
been
noise.
going on for so long that we
I'm
feel
only
like,
here 2 years, and I'm like, what?
It has, Wendy, but, so now we have to just go
We'll
forward.
agree
and
it's been,
take care of it.
we'll agree it's been going on a long
Yeah.
time, and it's not that we haven't done anything, it's just that it takes time, unfortunately. I think Mr.
but
Ferrari,
time is more than just a 5
I know, but
years.
what are you gonna do, go down there and tell the judge in Jersey or wherever this guy's from that, he's gotta go through the procedures?
And there's different solutions to the one problem, right? There's the litigation, there's codes enforcement, there's a nuisance ordinance, we can do different things. It doesn't have to be just one.
There's no code enforcement, there's no citation.
Well, this is what we got to do.
Let me ask you
I mean-
something. In your association, do you go out and do code enforcement yourself?
Yeah.
And-
We are watching over everything, but you know what, we're volunteers,
No, I understand. I ran a community in Florida for 14 years, so I totally understand. Totally. But do you find them? And
Yes.
Absolutely.
Now, the Pennsylvania law.
Absolutely, we give fines.
Now, what is the Pennsylvania law? Because in Florida, we could fine somebody $100 per day, up to 10 days. And once it gets 1,000, then you lien on the property. I don't know what Pennsylvania law is as
Okay,
far as that.
what we've been doing is
Just
$250
snap
a
their
day.
fingers
So that's $500 a weekend.
Well, he's
Okay, so right
proceeding,
there, all
they
they're
couldn't
doing is
find the
ripping
guy,
that
first
thing
of all.
up, And then once we've built up everything, we now have to take it to a lawyer, to take it to the magistrate, or take it to the courts. Yes, we do have one of the rentals
Okay,
and stuff.
we could kick this gong for all night.
Well,
The procedure is, what we're gonna try to do, the council will try to do is, we'll be looking for a code enforcement officer who will also be doing the short-term rentals. And we'll see what happens when July 6th, when Mario or Jim Ferrari has a report on.
I wish I was looking for a job. I can put the hammer down. I'm retired. What's 20 hours?
Okay?
I'm retired. I don't
All
want
I
that.
can
I'm
say
gonna
is
give you guys the headaches.
we're working on it.
When do they pay the fines for you guys?
No,
They have, one person has done that. Yep, and we have them in the courts, and we're waiting for our date and stuff. We have to go through lawyers, we have to do our own thing, but
That is either of these properties,
Okay.
Summit or Shelley?
which one on Shelley?
10.
10?
10.
No, it is not. It is something
So
different,
it's another
because
one.
we're in the
Those are
same
the ones
issue.
that are currently in
Chatta
litigation.
is the one on Shelley.
Oh,
Chatta.
that's Chatham.
We are in the same position as you guys, that if you win this one, then you've got a good leg to stand on for the other ones.
It sets a
And we're
precedent,
doing the
yeah.
same thing.
Okay.
But you gotta work with us, and I don't feel,
We're-
nobody in this development feels like you guys are working with us when it's been put off and put off and put off.
Well, first of all, they couldn't find the guy. I mean, that went on for 6
Regardless,
months.
it's not just one it's not just one property. Now
But
they're
that's the one,
popping up.
that's the one that they started with, and, you know. and
I
they
just
tried to-
had a house right next to me. I live at 69 Mountain Drive. The house, 71 Mountain Drive. I just happened to be outside, and I met the two guys that owned the place last year. And I said, oh, I went and introduced myself, you know, the good neighbor policy. And I said, you're not here to be renting. I said, oh, no, are you moving here? And he says, no, we're going to be using it for a vacation and for rental. I said, you're not going to be renting short term. I said, we've got it in the bylaws. I said, and we're in the middle of a lawsuit. Guess what? 2 weeks later, there's a
For sale
sign
sign.
on the property.
Yeah.
You know, but regardless, I mean,
It works.
people got to learn.
I think we all have to work
You gotta
together.
help- You got to help us.
We're gonna see what happens July 6th. Jim will give us a report on that, and we'll take it from there. But we're keep smelling.
And July 6th, it's my birthday, so we better have a good one.
My birthday's coming up too.
Are you on the same subject?
Yeah,
Yes.
same subject, yeah.
Right.
Mike Reardon, 14 Cedar Road. Good. How much time do I have?
You have three minutes.
3 minutes. I'm not going to stand up here actually and, pretend that I know enough about the short-term rental situation, because I'm going to these meetings and it's like a learning curve for me, right? So I'm learning. But when I hear this gentleman telling me that, that the lake is being polluted, that burns my ass, to say the least. And pollution.
Right. I
Pollution all over the place. Pollution. People
I
don't care.
understand.
People don't care.
Right, go
On
ahead.
the way over here, Pine Hill Road, I saw a motorist just throw trash out of the car window. The quality of life here has gone to pot, for a decade, maybe even 2 decades. Well, you've been around here 6 years. I practically defend you because Claudette Williams, and this is off the topic, I shouldn't, complain.
Please don't bring anything up like that.
Well, she called you computer illiterate, and I question whether or not Claudette's even functionally literate. So, but having said that, though, getting back to wait, everybody, please. Okay, short-term rentals. These people. I mean, Clint Eastwood wouldn't put up with it. He was mayor of Carmel, California, for 2 years, and he sent a commercial. Those who pollute should either clean up their act or get out of town. They ought to get out of town. They're going to treat this place like a toilet.
I agree with you.
Lake should be a toilet. Lake Naomi wouldn't have to put up with it, doesn't put up with it. 12 Timber Lakes and Timber Trails doesn't put up with it. Arrowhead Lakes doesn't put up with it. Beltsville Lake in Carbon County, actually, unfortunately, there is trash. There's a problem in Carbon County, Beltsville Lake. So I'm no stranger to this, because last year, I'll never go back to Beltsville Lake again because, you see trash on the beach, you see trash in the lakes. It's like people don't care. They don't give a
That's true. You're
they
100% right.
don't give a rat's behind about it. to say the least, Fran.
I agree with you.
And instead of rumping about it, maybe we could talk to Chief Wagner about it, from the, I mean, listen, I just visited Jack Rader last week. At least he listened to me. Are you guys listening to me?
We're listening. I am anyhow, I don't know.
Are you
about
listening, Stacy?
What has he done to help us though, here with his problem? Tell me that. Tell me what has he done to help now?
He's at least listening to me.
Okay, we're listening too.
Are you? But are you doing something about it?
I'll tell you one thing, I do something about it. Every time we have cleanup, I clean up my street.
You're surprised at me,
both sides of
Yeah,
it.
I am. I'm surprised as to what.
Well, I'm surprised at you as well.
Okay, let's not get an argument here. Let's
Yeah.
come to the point and we have to move on.
Enforce. Send out fines, talk to the chief.
Mike, I'll talk to the chief
Please,
about littering
All right.
and enforcement and see.
okay?
Where to
Just
go.
please do that. This nonsense of defunding the police is not cool, all right? If anything, we should triple their salaries to protect and serve our neighborhoods. Or else I should suggest maybe an auxiliary police department. I'd be the first to sign up. I work for nothing, man.
I want you to know, I used to be mayor of Mount Pocono.
I know that.
And I went down to the railroad tracks down there, and there was people were throwing, the ones that commute,
Yeah,
okay, were throwing trash over the bank on the highway.
it's disgusting.
And I picked up the bags, went through them even, I got their name and address, and took them up to the district magistrate, and they were fined. I did that, and you haven't seen another bag down there since.
That's great, friend. God bless. This is why why you had 10 years mayor, right?
No, I only had 3 years.
You had 3 years.
3
okay.
plus.
That's all right. That's okay.
I was tired of being a buffer.
Well, I'm sure buffer. Yeah. This town has a lot of buffers.
Yeah.
Sounds like something from The Godfather.
Okay,
Anyway.
we gotta move on, I'm
All
sorry.
right. No. Just I said again, please talk to the chief.
Will do.
Thank you very much.
Our mayor will talk to the
Thank you
chief.
for putting my 2 cents. Thank you.
Alexis,
Thanks, Mike.
what do you want to say?
Mine is good, but just in response to what Wendy's concern, I do believe, and also because we have pending litigation, I do have to still be involved because I have all of the back history for that. But to answer your concern, you can still have someone, our issue is also creating our own paper trail of the code enforcement and actually being on site. So that, whoever you hire can still do the code enforcement part, and then, but as far as especially the pending litigation ones, I would ask that I can still be involved because of that.
Alexis,
Thank you,
tell
Alexis.
them that Ken Shelley, they came in with Borger, he got his permit, but he never registered with you. So he's operating illegal. Because of that fact, you can shut it down right now.
What's this? Who is
Ken
this?
Shelley, cease and desist.
Oh, Ken Shelley,
He never
okay.
registered like.
I know, Chatham.
Like he should have registered, and he didn't.
It's that, I agree with you, he's violating, even if he was legally doing it, he violated it, there's no question about
So
it.
can we do something?
I just to actually answer that, I just wanted to know, without disclosing everything about the case, is that I do know for a fact that their attorney challenged and they feel that they did their part. I don't have any history there because I wasn't there at that time, so obviously our solicitor is involved with, figuring out whether, that applies. But that is the borough's issue, what we're establishing is the fact that they did not, even though they had the zoning hearing board
Right.
decision, they did not follow up with what they were supposed to do in order to protect that right.
If he was legally able to do it, he didn't follow up on his procedure, that's the bottom line, and there should be a citation on that.
Alexis,
Yes, I'm sorry.
we did do a cease and desist on somebody. Do you know which house it was?
One Summit, and it
Okay,
was taken
yeah.
down
It was
within
taken down.
hours.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move on. I think, like I say, come July 6th to the meeting, and we'll get a report from our solicitor exactly where we stand on One Summit, the start of short-term rental. I'll be here, don't worry about that. I think I'll be here. I have a sick wife at home, so, but I'm here. Okay, we're going to go under action items, and I'm going to cover them very quickly. Security cameras, we haven't done anything on that. I think in order to live by the budget, I don't think we budgeted anything for that. We're gonna have to bypass that till next year. Burglar and fire alarms, same thing. We do have a list of everybody that has a key, but I think we have to go a little bit deeper. I'm talking about committees in addition to individuals. We have to find out who has a key. Office equipment list, which was prepared by Josh. Not only we want to know what the equipment, I think I mentioned that we wanted the type of a piece of equipment.
Yeah, so they're having side conversations.
Right, okay, I'll start over. Security cameras, we're bypassing that because we cannot afford that this year. Burglar and fire alarm and integration, that's the same thing. We have a list of the building keys, but we only have them for the employees that are in the building or employed. But we have to go deeper on the committees to see who has keys. Each committee, or whatever. Office equipment listing, you gave me a list of who has the office equipment. I was thinking of what you perhaps take out of the building, and we need the name of it and the serial number, whoever has the laptop or whatever. Personnel policy, we're waiting for Jim on as far as closing policy. Traffic at 611 in Pine Hill. That one there, we're getting closer, but we made a move on that. What we're trying to do up there at the Pine Hill intersection there is the light has to go there. I think we got $883,000 to put that light in. They need 1.2 million, so I have to talk to Mr. Sharajan, who's interested in the light, to see if he can get his checkbook out. And we're hoping to build a road from 611 over the industrial park. Calaris is willing to put the road in from the industrial park within 1,000 feet of Sarajan's property, and then, but we're applying for 2 grants. I think we have them in there. Looking for $1,000 or $1 million for that, so we can get the all road. And then Sarajan's property, he'll have to come up with his money for his road. We're working on that.
Frank, can I just give a quick update on that? And I'll update maybe the next meeting a little bit more in depth. I talked to Chuck Leonard at PMEDC today, so that's not, I don't know that that's exactly accurate, because they're actually applying for the same grants for the same road, so we don't want to duplicate.
Yes, yes they are.
Right.
In fact, Patty you went through them, did you, Patty?
No, I had a,
Well, let me say which 2 they are. On LSA for 500,000 and Multimodal, 500,000. That's what we're applying for.
Yeah, but we're not. So I'll update you.
What do you mean we're not?
Because I just talked to Chuck today. They're applying for much more money than 500,000 for each of those grants. They're applying separately, not with us. They're applying separately for the same exact road, same project, those same grants. So we don't really need to do, because we'd be competing against them.
Well, we got to make sure that we're applying for it. I don't care whether it's them or us, but it's got to be in the works, because we're figuring on that.
Yeah.
So, Patty, would you?
we need to apply for that, because I mean, when we apply for grants, there's always competition.
But I think Josh was saying it's being applied for through PMEDC.
Leonard, you're saying Chuck Leonard's applying for it, and we're applying for it.
Yeah, right.
Like
But
it's
having the
being
2
applied
set, this
twice
is the
for
issue
same-
that
right.
this is the issue that we came across when we supported the grant application for the Parks and Rec, and then we applied again for the funding that we need for, I call it a motor pool for our guys, the maintenance, right?
Yeah, we haven't got that yet.
So we competed for the same grants and supported, we gave the letter of support to this organization for the same grant that we were applying for. And because of that, they got the grant and we did not. So what I believe Josh was attempting to say is that no, we do not apply for the grant because Chuck Leonard is applying on our behalf specifically for that road for an enormous amount of money that will cover more than what we would be seeking anyway. So for us to apply, would then be competing for the same money.
Well, the bottom line
Yeah, but
is,
I'm hearing two other individuals stating that we still need to apply and we can't.
I attended the meeting where our senator told us to apply for $500,000 with LSA and $500,000 with the
Multimodal.
multimodal, okay?
I would check with him again, because he told he's supporting PMUDC's application, so I don't know.
I mean, I don't know how Chuck Leonard got involved in that, because we made a motion with Patty to do it on our grant committee, to do that. So we gotta find out whether he's doing it or we're doing it on the same money.
I'll send you the letter.
Between you two,
Send me the letter.
clarify that. I don't want to come up here and say, well, nobody got it.
Right, of course.
Because the senator told me that, I won't say it, but
How did he get involved?
because I had a meeting with him and he's in charge of transportation.
Really?
Yes. It was Senator Scarvella, Jack Rader, myself, Mr. Sharajan, and his family, and I had the school board finance man, Pocono Mountain School Board. The thought was that the school would be using this money, this road too, because then they wouldn't have to come through 5 Points. So I thought maybe they'd want to contribute, but they don't have any money, so that's out of the question. But at least, and then all Claris was there too, and we were working with them. Now, we signed a condition of use with Claris saying that they have to put the road in from Industrial Park to their cul-de-sac, which is like 1,800 feet. Okay? Now we got to get it from there to Sarajan's property line and Sarajan to 611. Now that's why we're applying for the grants.
Be careful, like you said.
I'm just, that's right. We got to make sure that we only have one party that's doing this, or we're going to be, end up with
Competing
nothing.
against ourselves and.
Yes,
end up with
Patty.
nothing.
There is another grant. I was on a Zoom meeting June 18th, and there's another grant through FEMA. It's BRIC, and it's for infrastructure. And they really tend to things that's going to bring employment, and that warehouse is going to
It
be
definitely
important.
is.
And Tom Hughes, he's the director of FEMA, he loves the idea. So we're going to be applying for that as well. Joshua, I talked to you about it briefly, because that's open now. We need to get everything done now, our application in now. Because the Biden administration gave an actual $1 billion to.
That's through Courtright, right?
What's that?
Was that through?
That was with Matt Cartwright's office.
Right,
set it
okay,
up.
yes,
Absolutely.
all right, good.
It was a really, really good Zoom meeting.
The only thing we got to do is make sure either Mr. Leonard is applying for the same grant that we are, or more money, or we're doing it. That's the only thing we have to know. If he's doing it, we'll pull back on it. But we got to get that.
And if it's for the same thing, make sure it's for that road.
That's right. We know it's for that road, but the question is who's applying for it. He's applying for more money than what we're asking.
Well, if he's applying for that one, then we need to apply for this one.
That's true.
whatever.
I agree with 100% with you, Patty. You could definitely apply for that.
Yeah.
Because we're gonna need $300,000 for the light, so we could use it for that or whatever.
Exactly.
Okay,
And I'm also trying to get money through them for the maintenance garage.
okay, good. I heard a rumor on that. All right, so Josh, between you and Patty, find out what Chuck's doing. If it's the same road, same money.
Same road.
All right. You got to have that in, I think, definitely before September.
Yeah, yeah.
Because otherwise you're out of the picture. And then we find out whether we get it for 2022. Okay? I'm going to be asking you, so I'm going to be checking with you, so let me know. I'll be on your tail. Okay. Let's see, the action items. I was working with them.
Speed limit solar sign.
Speed limit what?
We're up to the speed limit solar sign on the action list, this next page.
Okay, that's good.
It's still on the back.
No, he did.
Oh, that's
Oh,
the
the
nuisance.
sanitation lanes, I'm sorry,
There's a
yeah.
nuisance ordinance.
I didn't realize that.
I asked for a copy of a sanitation lien to be put on this action item so that know what's happening. What happened is when they changed our sanitation collectors, there was a lot of people that did not pay the sanitation fee, and as a result of that, they were all liened. Now, a lot of those properties have been sold, and we want to make sure that we got the money from these liens. And we found a couple of them that we didn't get them yet, so we're working on them.
And quick update, we actually just got one today. So we have, so far this year, we have 2 that came in. And like you said, these are before we switched the way that we pay. Now the residents are paying directly to county waste. But the one we got earlier in the year was about like $460. The one we just got today was like $260.
I want to see that big one. I think it's 2,000
Yeah, there is a
some
big one
dollars.
out
There's
there.
a big one that they haven't paid, so that's the one we have to get. Okay, Edgewood. I guess that's the project. They're working on a project there. They have to put a new pipe on 196 to get into the Mount Pocono tent and trailer. But they need more. They only have 3 men. Now they have 3 men, and Monday we'll have 4. So we'll have a full crew starting Monday, which is going to be wonderful. Then they can get something done. Right now what they're doing is cleaning out ditches and picking up garbage and things like that. Speed limit solar power signs.
You want me to comment on that?
Yeah, you cover that, would you please?
So the chief provided the place where the department buys these. We also had a discussion, but I think we should let it to the Safety Commission to kind of review that and make a recommendation for or against. But at the last police meeting, we did have a discussion about them and their effectiveness, and the chief's feeling is that sitting them in one location is ineffective. People, of course, learn them, but moving them around can have some limited efficacy. So it's up to the commission to review that. And
If I could really just,
Let me see something, please. I made a suggestion to slow people down on 611, put rumble strips in the road. Well, they're not gonna, people are not gonna like them because they,
Yeah, but the plows are gonna.
oh, they don't even interfere with plowing. They're on the road going to Antelope before you get to the bridge. They're right there, several of them. They're up at the Tobahana on 611 where you turn into Tobahana Army Depot or go out to 380. And they used to be right out here on 940.
Really?
Fran, I think Ada wanted to. I think Ada wanted to comment
Yes,
on
I'm
that.
sorry, Ada.
Everybody
Okay.
said yes.
I suggested that, and I think we have to do is contact the state and do it. But that's going to be up to the committee, and Ada's kind of running that charge. Go ahead, Ada.
all right, so there were a few things I wanted to just address, especially in regards to the solar sign. I'm glad they were on the agenda. We had passed approved, the Safety Commission. I did have 5 interested parties that submitted emails. I was hoping to be able to appoint them this meeting in order for them to get started. We have a grant that needs to be written out and submitted immediately in reference to getting these signs so that we have them ourselves for the borough and not have to borrowing them from the police department, and we can actually move them wherever we want at that point. So that is one. Second thing, in regards to a lot of the complaints that were coming up, part of the Safety Commission is to make recommendations to the borough to solve issues of safety. You guys are complaining about these short-term rentals. That's something that can be brought up to the Safety Commission where we can actually address issues like the parking in the roads that make it difficult to drive into your own driveway, the garbage that is polluting the area as well. Those are issues that can be, but we can't do that until we establish the commission. I don't know if you want to go through the names and see if we can't just have a quick meeting to appoint them so that we can get this letters and this grant started immediately, but I was asked to be put on the agenda and denied, so
Okay.
I'm hoping we can try to do that.
The reason we can't do it on a work session, we have to do it on the regular meeting, appoint committees. So that's July 6th, I have the papers, you're on it, and I told you before, the mayor has to be on it because that's his responsibility as being mayor. So you have 4 or 5, you can make your recommendations and,
We advertise at the beginning of the year that when it's something important, we can have a meeting during the work session evening in order to move things forward instead of having to wait
Well,
30 days
I don't
in between.
recall that
So you
meeting.
want to have it after?
After.
Right, right,
Oh, yeah.
right. That's, but it
okay,
wasn't
all
allowed
right.
tonight.
Let's go, okay, that's it. You have anything
Actually,
else?
let me tap into
Go ahead, go
Ada's
ahead.
discussion just quickly. I just want to mention the rumble strips were brought up. So I spoke to our traffic engineer and our streetscape engineer and the state, and they will allow them. So District 6 actually has them. Jenkintown is a borough not unlike us in the sense that it's bisected by 611. It narrows there, and they have a lot of safety issues. They just put in and have an approval letter from District 6, so we can even tap into that. So when the Safety Commission meets, that just to make a recommendation to you that's permitted according to the state. It can be in 2 forms. I got kind of mixed signals on which is preferred, but it can be thermoplastic strips applied to the road. They have less of a vibration, or it can be milled. But the issue
The
with
intent
milling,
would be milling.
well, the issue with milling is that I was told was our location, it crumbles more. So the state would probably have a preference over which one. But that's, that can be fleshed
Right,
out
well,
then.
I'm just basing my opinion on what we have on 940 South going into the underpass.
Mhm.
The issue that I see, if we were to use the applicated version of that, would be the fact that our plows would rip them up, and it would be having an additional expense for
Well,
the
they
state.
don't. We use that already up at the intersection at 5 Points, the thermoplastic.
Right, and they're not very good.
Well, over time, you have to replace them.
Right.
No, thermoplastic.
But they're not very good at deterring the speed or anything like that.
No,
The
no,
rumble
that's not
strips
what
that
it's
are
for.
down on 940 South actually cause you to slow down even when you don't intend to, because you hit them 3 separate times before you actually
Right,
get to that
that's true.
intersection.
I-
Here, coming north on 611, the 2 lanes coming into one, you get the notice
Yeah.
on the side of the road
Right.
with very little
I agree.
time to adjust. If you don't already know it's there, because, we're locals, we know it's there, we know it's coming. So when we see somebody speeding, we just, like, go ahead, whatever. But somebody that's not familiar with the area and is coming through our location has very little time to navigate into, and then they're fighting with the other oncoming traffic. So the rumble strips further down the road and doing the same type of spacing that we have down on the 940 South would be, good, because it's going to alert people in enough time for them to be aware.
I don't
if they're not
disagree. I just
You
wanted
gotta
to
do it
point out
both
that
ways,
the state might have a preference.
Yeah.
and
Right,
they just have
right,
to
and I
advise us.
You gotta do it both ways. You gotta do it, once you get through the light, maybe one at the church, letting them know,
But-
and then
So
one
they
here.
don't, we don't need it coming down this way. The rumble strips on
You
940
need it
are not
going
coming
down-
in both
You need it
directions.
going down through Mount Pocono when you need it.
But here's something
That'll
else
be
that,
up to
Do it all the way across the whole road.
Yeah.
So
Well, it would
it's
be
going
on
both
the
directions.
northbound side of 611. There's no need for it on the southbound side of 611, because southbound coming down, it's going from 1 lane into 2.
Oh, I
There's
agree
no-
with that.
Yeah, there's no necessity
Go
for it.
fast,
Yeah.
going out of our town.
Right.
You've got to have it on both sides, because if you don't have it, they'll circle here it is, I'll go over here and miss it.
There-
Don't
there-
forget too about our fog problem.
yeah.
I mean, that fog sometimes is so bad, you can't see the end of your car.
Right.
Right.
So, yeah, it's important.
That was my suggestion. I think we should contact the state and.
Well, I would like to have the safety
District 5, I guess
commission
it's
do that.
District 5 down there and see what they
We're
tell us,
District
yes or no.
6, aren't
No,
we?
we're District 5.
Five,
The
okay.
point was that District 6 already has approved it, and our engineer said he could use their approval and supply it to District 5, so it wasn't reinvented.
It's not
Yeah,
redundant, yeah, it doesn't have to be done.
I think-
Here's something else, though, for the Safety Commission. Mid-block crossing and lights. So remember this discussion, Jody, remember this? District 6 allowed it in Jenkintown.
But it's
So-
not, we don't have a commission yet.
No, I'm just pointing this out so this can be, I want this, so, if that's something the residents and the businesses and the town want, it can be pursued, mid-block crossing. We were told by PennDOT, District 5, that it wasn't allowed, but District 6 allows it. So, I was told by the engineer, we just need to put political pressure on. So,
But we're making a nice, long task list for a
Well-
commission that hasn't been established yet. So I
Well,
just,
that was just one suggestion, that, as
Fran,
far as the
Jody's-
solar lights, I think like the chief says, you look at them so often, pretty soon they don't see them anymore. I tell you, my brother was up from Virginia, and he never ran into these rumble strips. And he was going up to Tobahan, and he ran across them, and he thought something was wrong with his car. Because
There's a sign there.
yeah, I know, but he obviously wasn't looking at it. But I think that if we had them, it's a start. If it don't work, you could just fill them in with blacktop again. What difference does it make?
Fran, I think Jody had a question.
Jody, you have something to say?
Well, yes, obviously I'm down with the rumble strips, I love them. But my question is, so we can't set a committee? We only have 5 people who apply.
I know, we have
We're only
to.
allowing 5 people, so isn't it kind of a done deal then?
Yeah.
5
There's only
people
5
applied?
that applied, 5 that
1,
allowed.
2.
I have the 5, okay, just so that you know,
Well, we'll have
the
that.
5
Let's
interested
go through the
members.
meetings, and then we'll, after the end of the meeting, we'll close this meeting and go into a regular meeting. Just for this alone and get that settled. All right, we're gonna take up the standing committees. The planning. Mike, you wanna?
So planning, I think, just a quick update, I mentioned the nuisance ordinance. There was also an application before the planning committee last week to put in a trailer sales business up on 940. So that recommendation will be coming to council.
Put in what?
Trailer sales. So, you know, there's
Mobile
large
homes.
landscape trailers or smaller, that you hook via a hitch. Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about travel trailers?
Utility truck.
No, utility trailer.
Right.
Oh, utility
Yeah,
trailers.
yeah. Not semi-trailers.
And Mike, just add to that, so we need to, we'll have to set a conditional, because I think we need a conditional use
Yeah,
hearing, so
we
we'll have to
do.
set a date for that.
Yeah.
Okay, next item, Department of Public Works. We finally got 3 employees now there. Jimmy was out on vacation all last week, and I'll call it Mal Orr. We hired him.
Malachi.
Malachi.
Yeah, we can say that. I'll call him Mal. And then we have Kevin, and this coming Monday, Barry starting.
Right.
Okay, so then they'll have 4 and then get something. Right now, what they're doing is just cleaning out ditches and picking up trash. Under utilities, 8 is not chairman. I am, I think Mike Neville is. Yes,
guess
Tom.
we're running
Tom
all
is
right.
chairman of that, and we want a meeting with the water company on that particular. I don't know how many people know this, but for every hydrant out there, we pay $17 a month. And I think it's outrageous. But we have to talk to them and get them to eliminate it, or we raise it when they make a road cut. It's gonna be the same price, $800 every time they make a road cut. It's gonna balance out some way. That's my thoughts.
But before we move on with the road cuts, just so you know, our road supervisor voiced concern that they're not with the road cuts. So one, they weren't exactly coming through zoning to pull their permits for that, the road opening permits. I did contact, and I've been in contact with, I guess, their regional.
Is that on Kitty Avenue?
Summit, Kenny, I mean, we have a couple of locations.
Right, this is what we have to have a meeting with them, and Tom and I will talk to the supervisor there at the water company and.
Okay, and I can provide the contact of who I was.
Okay, I appreciate that. The other one, on Fairview, no, not Fairview, Kenny Avenue, they did a road cut there, and be careful because it's.
Deep.
It is deep. You're liable to leave your front wheel in the thing. And I think we have to get after them for that.
Are we discussing 73, Kenny? Like
The
in
one
that
they're building,
proximity.
the one they're building a house on.
The new build, yes, I did contact the owner, so.
He's gotta fill that in.
Yep, we're gonna schedule to have.
Did
that
he, who did that, the water company or the sewer?
And it's for his sewer and it's private contract. It was for the sewer lateral connection.
Right. Now, who pays for that? That's my next question.
Property owner.
The property owner.
Does he?
Yes.
Okay. That's, one for the zoning officer. Okay, all right. Park and Rec, Tom?
Yeah, I went to a meeting with Park and Rec last Thursday. Karen was the new member there with Deborah Fulton and Randy Altomos. And these are the bullet points that I was given from Deborah to mention to council and the rest of the residents. They're gonna wait for a grant to go forward with the dog park. She didn't say which grant, so I don't know which one she's talking about. And Pocono Pride Danny needs to be on the agenda to ask council about questions about the building that they got the grant for. There's a free tree project that they will not participate in because the trees, according to Randy, are too small. He wants bigger trees. And the final thing she gave me was the first Friday will be starting Saturday on, no. It's a joke, guys. It'll be starting in August or September, first Fridays. And that's it. Oh, and one last thing. Council mentioned to me about the $23,000 groomer that we purchased. Who's handling that, and are we using yet since we got it for a year?
We're not using it, that was for the
That was for that.
Rec, Park and Rec.
Right.
Well, they pay for it.
Are they using
So,
it?
Are they using it? I don't know.
well, somebody on council asked me to ask that question, plain and simple.
I think you're on the committee, aren't you?
Well, I just got the question today.
Wait, Tom, I'm sorry.
Okay, all right.
I just got the question today.
Ask Randy if they're using it.
Okay, but I just got the question.
I'm just pulling your leg a little bit,
Tom,
Tom.
you said someone on council asked a question or someone on the Parks and Recs committee?
Council, I asked the
Council.
question.
Okay.
Okay.
Just
They got a new groomer or whatever it is and was $23,000 and I hope they're using it.
He was just
The other thing that I think we better follow up on, Tom, and that is, we had Destiny or something like that, do the weed killing and so on.
Yeah.
The Destination Landscape, yeah.
That's
Right, we ought to check with that, see if they need that, Tom, because there's money in the budget for that.
The next meeting will be in 2 months.
Yeah?
They're doing every 2 months.
Oh, okay, well,
Can you just, I just asked real quick, the park behind the borough here, we're not in compliance with the fill, and that needs to be done. It was supposed to be done this year, and I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, well, I asked Randy in 2 months when the next meeting is.
I wouldn't wait the 2
Well,
months.
they're doing every
Wait,
2 months.
What was not compliant?
Our park?
she's talking about the chips.
Yeah.
They have to be certified chips and everything else like that, so they put all that down and then somebody lets a dog in and it's no longer certified.
No. It has to be a certain height level as well.
Right, it
So
has
if
to
a
be a
child falls off, that goes under OSHA and everything else. If your child falls off,
So they're
It's
either
not
gonna
that
have to
height
close
level.
the park where it's no longer available for the public use, or they need to fill it, because
yeah,
if somebody gets hurt at that park, we're liable.
the borough's liable.
Let-
And that needs to be done yesterday.
Well, let me give you one thing. Take a little trip down Mountain View Park in Tannersville or across from the, what's the beer maker down there? Where the park is.
Pocono Borough.
And check their chips on the building.
Yeah, but,
I'm just telling you, I mean,
We need to
if
be-
we're in violation, they're on triple
yeah, but that's
violation.
okay for them, that's their problem. I
That's
agree, I've
true.
been asking for this for 2 years since I sat in the audience, because that's not compliant.
I brought it
Well,
up, I
they
think,
just
every meeting.
did that last year, didn't they?
No, they didn't. We got donated a truck full
Of mulch.
that was donated, and it was mulch. It was not
from
certified.
Ed's out.
Right, it was not certified for the actual use, so we used it, but it was nowhere near what we needed.
No.
We just
To
put
be
it
in
around, they
compliance.
just put it around the equipment, they didn't put it all over the whole area. Okay,
So, Mr. President,
that's Park and Rec's responsibility.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
you want
Well,
me
we
to
still have
contact
to-
Randy, or you want the borough manager to contact Randy about these issues?
I don't mind.
Let Josh do it,
Yeah,
Tom.
and actually, I spoke with Jim and Kevin actually a week or so ago about this, so I'll definitely circle
Well, the
back with
funds
them.
need to come from, and here's my issue
Yeah.
about waiting until we discuss this with whoever, whenever. As council, we need to approve X amount of dollars for this particular project to come from the Park and Rec's account, which is what that account is for.
That's what we do.
So that this way, if we were to say, okay, not to exceed $8,000, get it done, our road crew can then find out what needs to be done, get it done, and by our next meeting, be able to say, check, it's done, and that's it. But we need to, just like if we have this meeting really quickly at the end of this to get the safety commission, we need to just have a vote and approve a square amount that can be taken from the Parks and Rec Fund to get this accomplished as soon as possible.
We have a chairman for the Park and Rec, and that's Tom Neville, and I think it should be his responsibility to get that information and get it done.
Well, I would
We
think
can't-
that
we can't
falls
step-
under
We can't
safety.
step on everybody's toes, because you're not gonna get anything out of
It
it
just
in the
needs
end
to
of
get
it.
done, I don't care who
Well,
does
I
it.
think we voted on an allegation for these chips.
Yeah, but we didn't have a fund amount, but if we can just vote on that amount tonight, regardless who decides to do
We don't
it.
know how much
Right,
it is,
exactly.
right?
Right, but we can have
Why
a cap.
can't we wait till July 6th and do it?
Excuse me, can I
Let's hope
interrupt?
nobody
Can
gets
I
hurt
interrupt?
I mean, you're
before
only
July
talking a week and a half.
Okay.
Randy, can I interrupt? We're gonna have our borough manager contact Randy Altomos tomorrow, explain to him what we're speaking about tonight, about the chips, have Randy get an estimate of what it's gonna cost, and they're gonna come back to us, then we can have a vote on it for
For July 6th.
July 6th.
Right.
The bureaucracy
And
creates
the
the
other thing was the
longest
groomer.
list
They
of
wanna
things to
know
do, and nothing
if they're
gets
using the
done.
groomer or not.
No, Josh will do it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
I have something, Josh, when you're working on this project, could you please find out from the state the thickness, it has to be a certain thickness, and the materials. You can't just throw mulch out there and think it's good.
It has to be certified.
Yeah, and I think Jim and, from my understanding, I think Jim and the road, I think, because I was speaking with them a week and a half ago, and I think they've done it before. But I think, like Ida was saying, I think that hasn't been done in a while, but they've done it before, because they were the ones explaining to me that procedure has to be certified. They pick it up from somewhere, I think in Easton, so they knew exactly what the
But it
process
has to be
was.
a
Right.
certain thickness and it has
I
to
guess
be-
nobody just told them to go ahead and do it, so that I'll certainly, we'll check
Right.
in with that.
And make sure we get a letter of certification on it.
Yeah,
for-
right.
Yes.
Right.
How much?
Okay, so that issue's done. Ada, sanitation. You have anything?
Well, you put on there the sanitation liens, but I'm thinking you're taking care of that. So County Waste has been doing well with notifying us when they're going to be a day late or however with the way the holidays have been falling. We just need our website up and running so we can have a way to communicate that to people, because I get personal texts on a regular asking the status of why garbage hasn't been picked up. And unfortunately, sending one text at a time isn't really getting the word out, so.
I thought they called. They called me at the house.
Yeah, voice
If
is.
if they have your email or phone number, they will call you.
Right,
But you have to make sure you give it to the
but the
County
problem, the
Waste.
point that I'm saying is that as soon as we can get our communication, those phone calls will cease. And so
Right,
that's what I'm
I
hoping.
agree with you.
That's all I've got.
Okay, building.
Well, as far as I got for the building is, I spoke to Josh about the air conditioning. I'll throw it over to you, Josh, if you have a date for that.
Yeah, so we're all waiting for the air conditioner. Unfortunately, we were a little bit delayed with the free stats, the Mets ordering the free stats, and as well as getting a date from the crane operator, because they were locked up in some other jobs. So we're gonna circle back. I talked with him at the end of last week. We're gonna circle back the middle of this week. Hopefully, it can get done before the next meeting, we're hoping, but there is no specific date yet.
Okay.
Josh, you tell Brian saying that Mr. O'Boyle said we want it done by our next meeting, July 6th.
Next meeting,
Go
July,
for it.
right.
Or he's gonna have you're sitting here with fans on everybody.
I'll take the thing.
Okay. Budget and finance. I'll turn that over to Mike.
Budget and finance, we had a really good, productive meeting Friday. Thank you, Joshua, and Danielle, who's not here, and Patty and Fran. So I'm just going to give you a quick 2-snapshot synopsis and then review the budget in detail next at the regular meeting, July 6th. But we're in really good shape. And our revenues received so far this year are at 74%, and that's not counting projected ARP funds from the federal government, and our expenses are at 43%. Now, typically, our revenues will be at a higher end right now because taxes come in, but they do come in throughout the year as well. But I'll give a rundown next month, a detailed rundown of the budget, but we're in good shape thus far.
Mike, I looked over the budget today. There was 2 areas where we had an increase of fund, and that was real estate transfer. We had $6,000 more than what we budgeted. That's as of June 18th. And the other figure that we got, which was really appreciated, we got $34,000 from. Yeah. Okay. So we got $40,000 that we didn't budget, but we got another 20 as a grant, but we spent it on the air conditioner, so it's an expense, but that's not going to help. The $34,000, we're going to have legal fees. They're actually a carryover from last year. That is going to eat that up, but the bottom line is we should be in good shape by the end of the year. We're trying. That's why I said we cannot buy any more. We did 3 things this year: the telephone, the copy machine. What was the other one? Computers. Okay? We got to watch what we do. We can't do it all in 1 year, is what I'm trying to say. Okay, personnel, Mike?
Personnel, well, it was already mentioned, we're just about at full capacity on the road crew. Beginning Monday, we will be. So we'll be all up to date there. So,
okay, regional police?
Regional police, I just want to read you something because this is just kind of says what our police force is about. So, you're used to, we complain about speeding through the borough or fireworks or whatever, but police officers do more than what they're just called for to in what we typically think. But there were 3 commendations given out at the last police meeting, and it was for a single event on May 7th, and I'm just going to read you the chief's comments here. The officers were dispatched for a medical assist and found it was a business accident where the owner had sustained a severe laceration to the arm from a broken mirror. The individual was losing a large amount of blood. Officer Richard Michaels arrived along with Sergeant Charles LaRue. They immediately put a tourniquet on him and stopped the bleeding. Corporal Matthew Nero also arrived and assisted. They set up a landing zone for medevac, but it was decided that the helicopter would actually take longer than driving. So Corporal Nero then led the ambulance in a police vehicle, while Sergeant LaRue drove the ambulance, and Officer Michaels maintained the tension on the tourniquet. The patient lost signs of life while en route, but he was stabilized upon arrival at the hospital. And without that tourniquet application, he most likely wouldn't have made it. And I don't know, I kind of get the chills reading that because those 3 guys were in the room, and it's fantastic work, and I just had to pass that along.
Yeah, great.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Patty, EMS?
EMS, the Roundup fundraiser is going to be on August the 5th. It's going to be at the Sky Top. The details are still being worked out, so I will let you know as soon as I know. One of our ambulance was in an accident en route to the hospital. So it's in 2017, so it's in the shop. One is going to be retired this year, and we did get a grant. We are going to get a new ambulance, but it takes 10 months to get an ambulance. There's a little bit of a shortage, but we did get a grant for some of it, and they cost like $137,000. I did attend the awards banquet for the EMS. I want to tell you, It was so moving to see these people, the work that they've done, the lives that they've saved. It was so moving. They had a video of all these different things. We got a great crew. We have a really, really great crew. So.
Patty, I have to say, my wife got sick, and first time I took her down to the hospital myself, or the emergency room, but then she was down there 4 days, and then they sent her home, and lo and behold, a week later, she was back in the same boat. So she says, I think you better call the ambulance. So I did, and there was 3 people, two men and a young lady, and they came to the house and they did a wonderful job.
They do.
They had her all hooked up, so when they got her down to the emergency room, they didn't have to do nothing. They just take the whole bed. That's it.
Yeah.
But,
They do an awesome job.
Right.
Some of the things we don't hear about, but watching the video and watching the lives that are saved. I mean, one young lady, she was actually at my house for my mom. She did in a year 764 calls. 764 calls. It was only 365 days in a year. And some of these people are amazing.
Yeah, they know their job.
Yes, they do.
Okay, Cog, anything?
That's me. I just sent Joshua some information, which I know you get that email as well, on the United Way. There is a program out there, I should say, emergency assistance program for renters and if people are in need. So I had asked him to send it to Diana so we could include it on our next newsletter. Because unfortunately, people are in need of rent assistance or whatever. So that program is still going forward. So, and if you could please have her make a couple copies, so if somebody does
Do you have anything
want
for
this or they
publications?
need, whatever, mail it to them.
I'll skip it if you
You
don't.
can skip it, I do, but it's important.
All right, Patty, we got you again on grants. Tell us where you're at. I know you mentioned,
Well, that
we
Zoom
just-
meeting was fantastic. I'm sorry that you guys couldn't attend,
yeah,
but I don't know why. Matt Cartwright's office, and they really enforced it. We have to reach out to our lawmakers, which I have. I have Jack Rader, I reached out to him, I reached out to Cartwright's office, and you have to have the letters of support to go
Right.
along with the grants. So I have really good communications with them. April is amazing. She's amazing to work with. I've been working with her from Mr. Cartwright's office. So we're gonna look forward to the BRIC grant. I mean, somebody gives you $1 billion into that fund, we just need a little bit of it.
could we use that?
We could use a little bit, so I'm pushing on that.
Okay, good. I know you're doing a good job.
And the grant, we didn't hear about the grant for the Parks and Rec out here,
Right.
that
Right.
we're not closed yet.
Okay, Mike, anything on the website?
Website, Chris is all up to date with everything he needs. He just got married Saturday, so I know I'm out of touch with him for a couple days yet. But just sent him some more information today, in fact, and hopefully he's on target to launch an initial site July 1st.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. The next item is Safety Commission, but I think probably what we should do is adjourn this meeting and then go into the other special meeting. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
I second.
Okay, a motion is made to adjourn and seconded. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion so carried. You're not leaving. We're gonna have a party. We're gonna have a party after this.
Yes.
Okay. All right, we're going to go into the special meeting for
Regular meeting. Regular meeting.
Special or regular meeting to appoint members to the what do they call it?
Commission.
Safety Commission. And I'll turn this over to Ada. She has the names.
Yeah, I have the names and everything.
Okay.
All right, based on the,
Hey, wait a minute. Come on. One meeting. Go ahead.
based on the commission resolution that we passed was that we would have 5 members of the community in addition to a borough council member liaison and the mayor as well that would come to the meeting. I had 5 letters of interest, which is perfect amount of people because that's what we need. The first letter was by Deborah Fulton. Do I need to read it?
No, you don't read,
Okay.
just the name.
So Deborah Fulton, she's on Reeder Street, Mount Pocono. She's also the Vice President of Park and Rec. She would like to be appointed. Do we want to go each person and appoint, or?
Give one
Do
motion.
all at once.
Okay.
One motion.
No, we'll make it one motion.
Okay, the second individual will be Mr. Don Struckle, who, Struckle, okay, who's
Right.
here. He wants to be considered. Mr. Kong Kim, who is headmaster of the Taekwondo Center. Jody, who we all know and love, has a business here, Pocono Rocks. And our prior secretary, Lori Noonan.
Now, wait a minute, you, Lori.
So I'd like to just make a motion to
Wait a minute,
appoint
you
those-
gotta count, yeah, you need.
So the 5 members of the community that we're requesting to be appointed to the Safety Commission, my motion would be to appoint the following 5, which would be Deborah Fulton, Don Strunkle, Kong Kyung Kim, Jody Bodell, and Lori Noonan.
I'm sorry, I think you're reading that wrong. It says will comprise of 5 members, and that includes the chairman and the mayor.
No, that's
Yes.
not how it was written.
Yes,
That's
I'm sure it does. Yours is more than 5, then, if you're chairman, that's 6.
I wouldn't be chair. We're not part of the commission. The commission is of community members.
I think the intent
We would be there
was,
as liaisons, not as members of the commission.
I think the intent was that it be residents and business
Residents
owners.
and business
yeah.
owners, not us. We're there as liaisons. We're not part of the commission.
Yeah, but then what else are you saying here? In this thing, says there's, wait a minute, the members of the city will be appointed, voting liaison, representing the borough. You're saying that some of them are voting.
All 5 of them have votes. They vote. They are the commission. They provide council with recommendation.
They vote on the recommendations?
They do everything and present to council recommendations. Council liaison is just there.
Right, I understand that. But what do
Okay.
they vote on?
But you're going to have to make
Safety
separate
issues.
motions because they're different terms.
Yeah.
Right, well, that's why I
Yeah.
asked you.
Yeah.
2 and 3 year terms.
Right, so there's 2 3-year terms and 2 3-year terms and 3 2-year terms. So,
Go every other one.
2 3 years and 3 2 years.
yeah, it's vice versa, yeah.
I'd
So I'm
recommend.
just gonna pick 2, I'll keep this down. I'd like to make a motion to appoint Don Struckle and Kyung Kim as 3-year term members of the Safety Commission.
Excuse me, can
And
I
then
ask
the other
one
2
question?
guys are, Fulton is 2 years, and Jody's 2 years,
No,
and Lori's 2 years.
I'll second that motion.
Yeah, but, okay, you got a second,
No,
now we'll go
it's
into
discussion,
discussion.
yeah.
My
Yeah.
discussion is that Don's running for council. If he gets on council, is he still allowed to be on this committee?
Yes.
He
is?
can be,
Okay,
yes.
Okay. That's
It's a
all I
committee,
wanted.
it's a commission, not a committee.
it's a commission.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
okay.
There was a motion made, it was seconded,
Right.
and there was questions, and the other questions.
So we're just voting on the 2 3-year terms right now.
You're voting on 5 people
The
at the
2,
term.
right, but we
You're
said it would be.
You're gonna vote on the 2 3 terms, okay, Don Struckle and Tom King.
Yes.
All right, everybody in favor of those 2 individuals being for a 3-year term on the safety committee?
Can't we just do the whole motion, because the others are obviously the 2-year term?
I was just told to make it 2 separate motions,
2
so
separate
that's what
motions,
I
you said.
did.
Let's just do it. Let's just vote. The motions are made, so.
Oh, we didn't make the 2-year term motion yet.
Well, you just do it after you vote on this.
Okay, we have it, 3-year term is Don Struckle and Tom King. And motion was made, second, a question was asked, are there any other questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Is he opposed or?
Are you
Aye.
opposing?
It was an aye.
Oh, you're saying aye, that's a yes, okay. You're in favor of it, in other words, the motion.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now, we need another motion for the
So the
motion carried. So
remaining-
you got Don and Tom King as 3-year term.
Yes, and so the remaining individuals would be Deborah Fulton, Jody Bodell, and Lori Noonan for 2-year terms on the Safety Commission.
All right, she made a motion. Do we have a second on that?
Second it.
Seconded by Patty. On the question.
Do we have to accept all of the people?
Pardon?
Do we have to accept all of the people?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I just made the motion for the 3.
She
so-
made a motion for the 3, so
You have to vote no.
now we're getting...
Revise.
All right.
All right, the motion was made, it was second, she asked the question, the 3 people were, the motion included the 3 people. All in favor, say by saying aye.
Aye.
Patty, aye?
I'm
You aye too? Or-
aye for Deb and Jody.
oh,
The
but-
motion is for all 3.
Okay.
So it's either yes
And
or
I'm
no.
an aye for the 3 that
That's
were
why I
there.
said, do we have to accept?
You're-
Yeah, it
you're
would have
for
to be all 3
you're-
or just say no.
Okay, everybody's aye, there's no, there's no.
Okay.
Marana, you and I, or a nay?
Nay.
No. He's an N.
Okay, what is
Tommy?
that?
Are you a aye or a nay?
He said he's a
I'm
nay.
asking Tom.
Are you in favor of the people that were nominated or not?
No, not 3, no.
Okay, so,
Deb and Jody, yes.
Tommy?
I say nay.
So that's 3 nays and 3 ayes, so then it would be up to the mayor to tiebreak it.
Yes, yes.
So
he's
it's a
voting
yes.
a yes, so the 3 are going to be Deborah Fulton, Jody,
Jody
and Laura.
and Lori.
All right? Is there any other business to come before the board?
One more thing, ladies and gentlemen that are here in the
Just give
audience, you need to come up with a date to have monthly meetings. I
And
will
get
send
a chairman.
an email.
Well, she'll start you off.
I'll get an email just to get that date, and then we will meet here. Hopefully, it will coordinate with the mayor as well, so that we can then get that first initial meeting set where you can vote for a chair and vice chair.
And the first thing that I would like to see is rubble strips.
Yes.
I think that would solve the problem for everybody. They're gonna be complaining about the noise that they make when cars.
But if we say every day,
Well, they had them, they used to have them on 940. And Fitzsimmons was one guy, because people come rolling down and right across the highway into the woods. They put them rumble strips and they were complaining about the noise.
Can we vote to advertise, I just want to throw this in there because we're here, can we vote to advertise for the position for zoning? For the,
As well.
yeah, might as well, so that this
Yeah,
way we don't have to
should make a
wait.
motion. I'd like to make a motion if you want.
Go ahead, make the motion, I think that
I'd
we
like to
should.
make a motion to advertise for a part-time code enforcement officer.
I'll second.
All right, on the question.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Part-time, how many hours?
Part-time, 20
Salary?
hours.
20 hours.
20 hours, and salary, I hate to say this, guys, nobody's coming out for the salary that we were given, so I would put out there $19 an hour.
Starting 90-day probation.
What would we have one on?
18.
We had him at 18?
He wasn't 19, was he?
No,
He was at
no.
18.
He was 17 or
Yeah, I would
something.
just, because that's what we were budgeted at, can we just not keep it at 18 and have the discussion when we interview?
Well, he got 90 days, then you're ready, you know.
Yeah, then you
that's when
get
they
the
got a
raise
pay
up
raise
anyway,
after the
right.
90 days unless he's, that's the way it worked, anyhow. I would say, starting at 18.
That's not her motion, she
That's
wants
not
to
my
start at
motion.
19.
Isn't, what do you want to do, just start him at
Starting
19?
at 19, nobody said we're giving them a raise at 90 days. It's
Okay.
whether they can.
Then we'll decide after the 90 days what we're gonna do with it, right?
If you make them a permanent employee.
Right.
That's after 90 days.
Okay,
But 20 hours a week, no insurance, obviously.
right,
You're a
no,
part-time
right,
person.
no benefits.
We know
Night-
we know what happened with trying to advertise for the road crew.
Yeah, did we ever?
Yeah, so,
Because that's a laborer's job, this is not.
yeah, but nobody's, you
They're
can
not
go to
laborers.
Burger King and
They're-
flip burgers for 15.
Can I ask
Okay.
another question about
Go
this?
ahead.
That being said, as far as Alexa's hours, she keeps what she has now.
What hours are you working? How many?
You're 30?
We gave you more, right?
Yeah, my max is 34.
But
I'm
that
sorry.
doesn't need to be part of the
My max
motion,
is
though.
34.
That's not part of the motion, she has 20 hours a week.
No,
Okay,
but I
well, I'm just
understand what you're
asking.
saying.
Yeah, oh, right, but it's not part of the motion, okay.
Okay,
Okay, that motion, are we ready to vote on that?
so you keep your hours.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more questions on the motion? All in favor, signal by saying aye.
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 Ron, what are you saying, aye or nay?
Just to
Aye.
advertise for the job.
Nay is you're against it.
That was to advertise, Ron, for
To
the,
advertise for zoning officer, code enforcement officer.
Right.
Yes or no?
He said aye.
Aye. Okay, the motion carries, there's no no's in that, right? All in favor, signal by saying aye. I guess we're done.
Yes.
Well, hold on.
Any public participation that we haven't covered already? I thought I sent you home.
I thought you wanted to keep me. I just got notified that one out of our 3 executive board members will not be able to make it on Saturday. So is there some other meeting time that you guys are available and we'll get it together?
Who's attending it?
Can you go with it's a Thursday night?
I would say
At
just send it by
7 o'clock?
email in order for it to
Are
be
you not having
decided
a
on.
meeting on Saturday?
Well, we can only do like half a meeting and stuff, and it's not gonna be, we don't wanna be bringing up complicated stuff if we only have the, the people that aren't really gonna be there that it's involved. Because we have an executive board that consists of 3 people. Okay, we have the president, the vice president / treasurer, and the secretary / financial secretary. And the 3 of us are involved with absolutely everything.
Do these
So you
people
want all
work?
3 people
They have
available.
full-time jobs or anything?
They have other commitments on
Okay, so-
Saturday,
so-
so.
Why don't you make it the following Saturday?
Wait a minute, I can only hear one person at a time. Or she's she's
I'm
cuter.
louder though.
Yeah, but she's cuter, so.
Do you need a quorum for that? Is that
No.
why you can't? Okay, you don't need a quorum. Good for you. This Thursday?
Yeah, Thursday night, would that be okay?
I can do it.
Would that be okay with you?
The
Would that be okay
24th?
with you, 7
Yeah.
o'clock?
I actually have a commitment, a standing commitment.
Okay, Wednesday night, Friday night. Would
I
that
mean, Wednesdays are better for me, but
okay?
Friday.
Let's
for-
go
I
with
don't have to
Wednesday.
go.
Wednesday?
This Wednesday? is
Wednesday,
fine.
tomorrow.
Our representatives from council is gonna be Patty and
Stacy,
Stacy.
tomorrow night?
That's the 23rd, Wednesday night, you're
Wednesday
saying?
night, tomorrow.
No, that's not tomorrow, that's 2 days.
23rd is, I know that date well.
Well, see, this is what you get when you're retired, this is, you need calendar, first thing on the plan. All right, this coming Wednesday.
What time?
The
7 o'clock, is that
23rd,
okay?
23rd at 7 o'clock. You're gonna have the meeting.
Because I don't have to.
I'm not gonna be there, I'll tell you that.
Neither will I.
Patty,
I work on her.
you gonna make it,
Is
Stacy?
Wednesday okay with you,
Yes,
Alexa? How about you, Stacy?
Stacy, I can go if you,
I can do
I
that.
wanna go.
you wanna
I
go.
think everybody was invited.
Like,
Sure.
Okay.
But I don't answer.
You can't everybody go,
I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't
the only
answer
2
telephone
people or
numbers
3
that I
at the
don't
most
know.
can go from the
But
council.
if it's a local number,
No,
if it's a local number and stuff, I don't have a problem, but I get, it's too many spams. My telephone number is.
No, I'll give it after.
All right.
Wait a minute.
Are you one too, right?
And I'll give you my number. so
Okay.
you'll know.
Okay, you got 2 people that are gonna do it. Patty's definitely, and possibly
I'm
Stacy.
trying, I just have to check my work schedule.
Okay, then that'll be fine.
Okay.
Okay.
All right? Are you happy now?
7 o'clock.
You're half, right?
And
How about this much?
No. Here, let's see July 6th. On the clubhouse, 13 Summit. 13 Summit Drive. No air conditioning.
I have a special announcement
I'll
here.
bring my fan.
But a pool.
On the 29th of June, I'm
You
gonna
have to have a
be,
wristband.
I'm gonna be 88 years old, just so you know.
I'll be 62. I will be 63.
You're just a pup.
Fran, 25th.
My mom's 92, does that count?
It's gonna be what?
My mother's 92, does that count?
That's, you got a prospective
she's-
92 age to reach.
And she's so with it that she's in charge of over 13 rentals in New Jersey.
Oh,
And I have 5.
Fran, what did you show?
So,
She's right, Shirley's right.
July 3rd, she'll be 86.
I know, but thank you.
Thank you, and I hope we did a little something. We're gonna know July 6th, as I said before, to see what happens. I hope that they go to court.
Otherwise, I'll have to be back again.
Well, the only thing we can do is keep trying.
Died, I don't know
And we're with you. We're 100% with you, just so you know that. Okay?
But you know what, it's convincing me.
I know it seems like it's forever.
Your receiver.
Okay, Franny, hi. Again, Mike Bearden, 14 Cedar Road, Mount Pocono.
Yeah.
I just like to, I don't wish to sound like a parent or a parrot, rather, and belabor the pollution issue, but, you know, I'm going to repeat myself, I'm afraid. Mr. Mayor, Mr. Penn, please talk to Chief Wagner about not only the pollution problem in Summit area, but about the pollution problem in general around Mount Pocono. All right, that's all. And,
I'm hoping to address
Patty,
it with safety.
What's that Skytop event, August 5th? What was
Oh,
that?
that's the EMS. They have their annual,
It's EMS Roundup, it's an annual, they couldn't have it
It's a
last year.
fundraiser.
I went to it several years. I didn't go last year. I don't think they had it. But the year before that I went, and the year before that I
I'd
went.
like to go to that, but there's only one thing.
You have to buy a ticket. I forget what it is. I think it's like $30, $40.
Well, it matters to me because I'll be in Meadowlands, New Jersey, watching Guns N' Roses that day.
Yeah.
So, again, it's a music event that I'm going to, but Frank, thank you very much. Mayor Penn, thank you very much.
We're trying.
Okay, well,
And
I'll
harder.
try harder, well, you know.
We're trying harder and harder.
All right.
We're trying to keep it within the budget. So
Right.
and still get things done.
Oh, you know, and just keep our bring up our quality of life, you know, improve it.
We're working.
I mean, I wasn't around in the 60s I bet
I
you
was.
probably know better than I about the quality of life and everything up here, but you've probably seen everything. Having said that, though, I do remember the late 70s, early 80s when I was a New Jersey kid, and you know, my parents taking me up on weekends because we had vacation home up here. And I do remember the rumble strips in 940.
Yes, I think they will work.
Yeah, I remember
If they don't work, you just fill them in with some blacktop again and forget it.
Yeah, but you know.
Still work.
They'll work.
Safety, you know, like I said, I'm concerned about, again, pollution. You know, I mean, I did some landscaping on my property. I've been living there 10 years. I still dig up trash that's at least 20 years old. I found a shoe that was looked like a Buster Brown type shoe from the 70s. I mean, you know, okay, so.
Okay.
Again, that's all. Thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
This meeting is adjourned, right?
I make it adjourn, motion to adjourn.
Okay, Nate is seconded. I heard her second.
Yes, I
All in
seconded.
favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Thanks, Ron. Good to hear you. Thanks, Ron.
I'll talk to my secretary.
Do I have to turn this off?
Good night, everybody.
Good night, good night.
I turned that off.
And whose is this one? Oh, this is the new one.
That's a new phone.
Where'd you get them? Are they yours?
Yeah, they're mine. I bought them from here, right?
Oh.
And I bought 4. But apparently the receiver for the 2 of them died. Because I guess I didn't charge it enough. Because it's a permanent battery. I just checked the battery. It's a permanent battery. Good night.
Good night.
So I'll have to figure out how to.
Hey, it might be raining. Be careful.
I know. I won't rush that fast.
Yeah. All right. You never found out who signed that contract, did you, for the sewer extension?
Nope. Not yet.
I bet you don't see my name on it.
Probably not. Probably not. Probably it's Paletti. Probably.
No, he might be on the treasurer, yeah.
I'll find out.
Like Paletti? I think they booted me off before that.
What was that?
I think they booted me off before that.
I think so. I'll find out though. Probably Jake Site.
Who? Jake? No, he was out in California.
So that lake is going to be included in some
Our proposal.
This is the one they gave you.
This is the one they submitted last
We
time.
should disband these.
Okay. It's a billing. I do read them.
You buy it?
I do read them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I know towns have beautiful house. New York State finds are $5,000.
Complain that our KR used to take.
Playing around is sad. Oh, Florida. I always, I forget the name of the sheriff, Brady Judd, you ever hear of him? Brady Judd? No, Florida.
The big one is Broward.
You took Brady Judd, J-U-D-D. He's kind of like, he talks like he's Andy Mayberry, but he stories about who he's arrested.